If I clicked the right buttons in the right order, we are live on YouTube right now. And in about 20 seconds after the delay, we'll hear from people in the chat room saying I'm right. How are you guys doing? I see we've got Ponyboy, we've got Gatoon, Eddie Dean, and some other people who will be joining us soon. How is everyone doing? Happy Halloween. Can you hear me? And
we can hear you.
I hit the buttons in the wrong sequence. Okay, let's see if now I hit them in the right sequence where I can hear you and you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me, Curtis?
I hear you.
Oh, good. Curtis hit the right buttons.
Okay, let's try this again. Ponyboy, can you hear me? I can't hear you. It's not.
Here, let's try that. There we go.
That's our first scary story, is the mute button.
That was my fault. I was typing in the chat room. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
It's all good. Okay, so I just realized of all my great planning is my camera blocks my chat room view, so I'm assuming chat room you can hear us. Let me rearrange this.
I have to move you guys out of the way, and I will ask them.
Cool. Well, then that's going to mean that
stream's live.
I designate.
I can hear it.
You can? Okay, cool. So Ponyboy, you are designated then as the official chat room coordinator. And as you can see, we all are dressed up. I mean, I forgot to wear a costume, but Eddie, you are dressed up as my favorite referee, the only one I actually know his name. Tell us about your costume.
Well, there's this referee, rather famous referee, I guess, or notable referee in the U.S. or in the NFL. His name is Ed Hochuli. And I decided to dress up as a referee, but also a dead referee. So I'm known as Dead Hochuli tonight.
I like it. And then, well, the other thing too is you're ready to call us like for penalties and everything, correct?
Yes, I have a flag right here. If you guys can see that. So any flags on the podcast, I'll throw a penalty.
Sweet. So I guess Ponyboy snuck through on that first mute and me on hitting the wrong button too. There was no penalty to that. That's no delay of game or anything.
No, that's fine. Although I couldn't hear the background music. Did you play like any music to bring us in, or was it just like a video intro?
It was a video intro with just a little bit of music playing with it. So yeah, unfortunately you didn't see it on Skype, but the people who were watching on the video on YouTube should have seen and heard that. Because
I couldn't hear anything through my headphones either as you're flicking your hair.
Yes. Do you like that?
Oh, so sexy,
here we
Curtis.
Go. Wait, here we go.
Wait, I can do that too. Wait.
That's not fair because you do it with like years of experience, where for me this is my first time.
Oh, but you're so natural at it, Curtis.
I'd like to think I am. You know what scares me is that I'm going to go ahead and bring up the F name to start off, but Falky.
How dare you?
Well, this is a Halloween horror story show, so let's start with Falky. That now I could possibly be in a video of Falky's. He could show that I did the wrong flip of my hair or something, or maybe he might, maybe he private messages me and says, Curtis, all these years that you just were an annoying shit to me, I'm actually kind of interested with you now with that hair.
You don't want that. Do you really want to bring that world of hurt on yourself, sir?
No, I do not. So I didn't say that. That's forget it. Gatoon, who are you? I can't tell.
I'm just wearing a Guy Fawkes mask. I mean, because it's what I had available sitting around my house. So
I almost went with that.
Because everybody needs one of these. See, everybody needs one of these masks.
You do. I agree. Do I sound better when I do this?
Yes.
I thought so too.
So the chat room's actually popping up that they can't hear anybody but Curtis right this moment,
really?
and I don't know if that's on the stream or on the.
That would make for a terrible show. That
Curtis talking to himself.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's see. What can I do to change this? You guys can watch me do.
It is on the video stream. It looks like because it sounds like the audio stream's fine.
Okay, so everyone is hearing. Well, at least I'll be able to mix it together, right? Do some magic. Let me see if I can change my audio source.
So you can do that in post.
I know, exactly. That sounds too technical, or that sounds too legitimate, though. I feel far more hackish than that.
They're saying they can't hear anyone except you, Curtis.
Yeah,
On the video stream.
to me, that sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it is a nightmare.
Okay, let's see. Hopefully the audio sounds better with this. I just changed I have like 5 different audio input sources, so it wouldn't surprise me if I picked the wrong one. So let's give it a moment here before we get much deeper and see if they can hear you guys too, which means I should shut up, right? Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, Briggs said she can hear on the stream, but only you, Curtis, on the video. Jazz seconds that, so we have a second opinion. I'm gonna get myself in so much trouble.
I've got both now.
You can hear everybody, and does it have noise on it, or does it sound good?
Jazz says mute the audio and listen to the stream.
Yes. That would be a great way to do it, where this is the only podcast where we expect you to hack us to listen to it.
That's right. You do all the work. We do nothing.
I'm here for you to do work, not for me. Okay, so how about now? Is it any different, Jazz or Brig?
Let's see. I'm going to mute myself. I have to remember not.
Sorry, say that again.
I said we got to wait like 15 seconds for the chat room to respond.
Ooh, I like this little mute button on the headset. This is very convenient.
That opens up the door to all kinds of coughs and other noises to happen.
Oh, it does. Like right now, I could be screaming at you and then just.
So the video stream's about 60 seconds behind actually compared to the audio at 15.
Now you're having the reverse problem. They can hear us, but they can't hear you.
Well,
damn you.
What you're saying is I've improved it. Okay, so why is that the case? Let's see.
See, this is why we're doing this, right? Right?
So we can get better at doing this, right?
Yeah, this is a technical show.
Yes. That's why it's why so technical, because we're not really sure.
And it's a test technical show, too.
Yes, that is correct.
Right. Halloween test technical show.
Because what time is
haunted.
Let's see if I do that. Does it make any difference? Okay, so it's 60 seconds from now. Am I louder to you guys?
Yeah.
Not overpowering.
I didn't hear a difference in your voice.
You didn't? Okay, well, hopefully I just brought myself up to the point where you guys can hear with the sound card that I connected. Let's see. Can I do
Wow, I'm still staring at Eddie's studio. Holy
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Aren't I awesome, everybody?
You are, Eddie Dean, absolutely.
You just are. Okay.
Jazz says he blames you, by the way.
Oh, it's always my fault. It's been my fault ever since last week, I believe.
Yes.
Everything.
So wait a minute. That means that the virus that Jazzmundo was suffering from, the blame him on everything, somehow you contracted it?
Yes.
Nice.
I sexually contracted it somehow through the internet off of Jazzmundo. Thank you. I'm Eddie Dean.
I like the science. It sounds legit. Okay, I'm going to try a different sound device, see if that makes any difference. I'm worried it won't.
So I don't have any. Your audio's still not any better.
It's not. Okay. Well, there's going to be a little bit of delay, right? You said so.
Well, yeah, I've been waiting for the delay.
Okay. Great.
That's a good podcast name, Waiting for the Delay.
I do like that.
Waiting for the delay.
You know what, Eddie? That
Welcome
should be
to
like
Waiting for the
calling.
Delay.
Because you've named ours. Maybe that's what you should just do. You should just consult. You need to be a podcasting.
You should be. I agree.
Should be my day job.
Podcast consulting.
Yep. I like it.
Podcast name consulting. I got to tell you guys, I've never done a video podcast with anybody, and this is really distracting because I keep looking at you guys, and it doesn't feel like we're doing a show. It just kind of feels like we're chatting on Skype and stuff. I don't know. It's just strange.
Jazz says you're running the Death Star, by the way, so you must be really good at multitasking.
You do need that sound effect where you hit the lever and goes.
We need that.
Yeah, I hope everybody heard that. Which now I guess.
They want to know what's in your glass, Eddie.
I guess since I have an overhead view here, we can open it up. That'd be really It's a fruit smoothie, everybody. There's no vodka in it or anything. It's just fruit smoothie from Jamba Juice.
Well, I respected you up until then.
I'm drinking cranberry juice that sort of looks like blood.
Yeah, that's a great effect too. So Eddie, the Jamba Juice is part of your outfit because Ponyboy coordinated her drink with the show. So you're saying that Ed Hockley, that's how you keep those guns?
No, I'm dead Hockley.
Well, you're dead. Dead Hockley. Does he care as much about his physique as live Hockley did?
Not really.
Okay,
no,
so
he doesn't.
Jazz says our stream audio. Oh, he's saying audio stream is fine.
Okay.
The video stream's dead now.
It is?
No audio in the video.
It is? But you do have video.
I do have video.
Okay, so that's, man.
So let's go old school. You have to listen to the podcast while you watch a video on.
Yeah. Okay. So why is my mic is going into the same stuff? I thought. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves for a moment.
Well, I'm not getting any audio at all from that video.
Well, I just went back to the other sound card.
I now want a fruit smoothie. Thank you.
Yes. But this podcast is brought to you by.
That's inside baseball right there because nobody knew that. That's what I always drink before or during a podcast is a fruit smoothie.
Is it?
That's what makes you so outstanding. That's what I'm thinking.
Losing my.
Oh, there goes the mask.
And there goes the. That's okay. So at some point, the fangs will come out because isn't the lisp hot?
Yeah.
I'm all worked up. I got to tell you that, Ponyboy.
They look pretty good for what they are. They don't look too bad. They're all right.
So are those the ones that glue in, or are those just the plastic ones? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's hardcore right there.
It's just dental adhesive. I didn't go with the more expensive ones. I haven't had time. I've been working on this other show. I'm doing stuff for that and just busy.
We've got a caller. I'm going to bring them in.
All right.
Hey, you are on the stream.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, and I'm assuming you're okay with that video being on there? Because you are.
Oh, with that. Oh, my video's on there.
Well, not video, but your picture is.
There's a picture.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah,
yeah, your kids are, Jazz.
It's a very cute photo. I'm assuming you're cool with it, but I should alert everyone who can hear me right now that if you do call in, you are live right into our video feed. So that is an effect of this. So how are you, Jazz?
I'm good. I just wanted to, I'm sure you're already well aware that the sound on the video from YouTube isn't working, but the audio stream is working fine.
Isn't that great that you would think that we could have it all worked out, but of course I have to mess something up here. So you should be able to hear everybody but me now.
No, so what I'm doing is I'm watching the video with the sound down and listening to the audio stream.
Yeah,
is that synced up, Jazz? Are the two synced up, or are they kind of?
I don't think it matters because the pictures of all of you are so small anyway. It's not an issue.
How dare you, Jazz? Are you saying that I have a small picture?
Yes.
How dare you, sir?
Yeah,
I'm very interested, Eddie. Why you have a camera shooting you from above? Is this a porn setup or?
This is the mixer that I do all my porn on. See, the ass goes right here. No, it's just I just got this camera for this podcast today, and I didn't want it to be like real close to my face because nobody wants to see that. So I put it up on a stand like way above or behind my my monitors.
I cheated too. I did soft lighting, so I looked good. I did the same.
I wish you guys would have told me to do something like that.
No. See, Curtis, I was coaching you with great lighting, green screen. That's what we were.
We're trying to further the mystery. Like we're actually, not at all what we appear to be.
Yeah. Let's see if I'm going to try something here. Hopefully this doesn't mess up and you guys hear a bunch of audio. Let's see. Okay, on the YouTube stream, I wonder if I sound any better. Sorry, I just had to throw it out there so if maybe somebody
No, that's okay. Jazz, are we doing, didn't you want to talk to them something football related?
Oh yeah, I did. I was going to call into your last show that you and Eddie did, Curtis, and I just wanted to know if Eddie is embarrassed that I'm beating him, or no, I think we're equal at the moment in the picking competition.
That's a great question because you two are tied right now.
Yes,
Jazz?
and I would technically be one ahead, but I got my picks in late, and missed the first game.
Hey, Curtis, we got an echo on the YouTube stream
Oh, you
now.
did, man. Okay, so I'm doing great all around. Okay, how about now? It should have gone away.
So I'm thinking about the not sync thing. I'm sorry. It's like anime where we're not matching what's going on with our mouth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Eddie. Go ahead.
So Jazz, yes, I'm very angry with you because we're tied in the pool. But at one point, I think you were in the top 3 or 4. I think you had a good week, and and I see you just changed your Skype picture.
Yeah.
You son of a bitch! You just got me all. Now I don't know what I was saying, but yes, I hate you for. I hate you now because you're beating me in the podcast or in the football pool.
Yes. So, but considering I know nothing about the game, and the only way I can formulate my picks is by looking at the current standings, how many games teams have won, and I'm generally just going by who has more wins. And then when it's a tie, I sort of flip a coin.
That works pretty good, actually, because if you just go with a majority, you're going to get maybe 80% of the games, 80% of the picks correct. So that's a good way to go.
Yeah, and I have no emotional ties to any teams, or like I don't hate certain teams. You know how when you sort of hate another team, you sort of can't pick them sometimes.
Yeah.
I have none of that.
Well, I got the opposite thing. I'm sorry to talk about all this football stuff on the technical podcast, or Why So Technical podcast. But
No,
I
keep
mean,
going. It's all good.
the Green Bay Packers are playing my team, the Denver Broncos, and they're both 6-0. And I had to go with the Packers because I think they're a better team. So I had to pick against my team, which hurts. And I might pick the Broncos tomorrow morning just because I'm a fan, because it's a home team. So yeah, I don't know what your question was, but I got to tell you guys, I am so discombobulated looking at all this video and trying to put together a coherent sentence in a statement. It's really
It is tough.
awkward.
I gotta
It's
ask.
distracting because
Yeah.
we don't
It
know
is.
each other either. That's the distracting part too, because now you're like, wow, I've talked to these people and this is what they look like, and then you start wondering. Like I said, I'm looking at your mixing board, going, man, that's got to be expensive.
That's true. My
Yeah,
word.
Eddie, where did you get something like that? It's very professional.
Well,
Oh God, Jazz, you suck.
Well, I'll wait until you answer this question, Eddie. All eyes are on you.
okay, so what's the question again?
How did your
Do
mixing
you get
board
something
get so
like
bad?
that at Kmart or Walmart?
No, I bought it on eBay. It was like $2,500. That's all. So
Oh,
it's not
that's
that
it.
expensive. Yeah, $2,500. But it's for my business, so I mean, it was well worth it. I've had it for over 10 years. It's worked great.
It's so professional looking.
Should I turn off my video so people aren't distracted by my mixer?
No,
where
I
are
like
where
it.
are the buttons that you press to make the George Norrie happen?
Yes, I want to know that too.
Well, it comes through this channel right here, and then off over here is another computer. Maybe I should just pick up the webcam and do a tour of the studio for everybody. No, I won't do that.
I'm
You know what?
very interested. No, actually, I'm interested in that.
I'm actually interested too, and
I
I'm
know.
gonna miss the Nori soundboard.
I agree.
Well-
Actually, this is perfect timing too, because then I can try to goof off with my setup and fix my audio. So,
Yeah,
do
pull
it.
him up full screen too.
yeah.
Okay, so no.
Never-
Wait a second.
too late.
Hold on a second.
Too late,
Goddamn.
too
How
late.
dare you?
The group agrees.
How dare you?
Put the naked filter on too.
Yeah.
Well, I have all this porn off camera over here that I need to put away somewhere.
You said
Just
off.
hide your real doll.
You said off.
Okay, so Jesus. Hold on, let me grab the camera.
You're not wearing pants, are you?
Yeah, I am. I'm wearing black pants.
Just kidding.
I'm
All I
wearing
can see
sandals
now
though.
is this giant picture of George Norrie, which I could really do without.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, this is horror story, so that's the right image to use.
But can you believe, like, that picture I've got of George Norrie? You have a look at that picture and then pictures of him currently. He either had a lot of surgery or uses a lot of shoe polish on his head.
Yeah.
He definitely got a wig or something.
So this is the George Norrie soundboard, everybody.
Oh, wait,
That's the
you have
computer.
green on there. Your
Yay!
green is affecting my green screen.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Messing up with the green screen.
We'll keep
Really?
it. It adds to the effect, so keep it up.
Yeah, so this is my George Norrie soundboard, and we'll play Goatsy right here.
Goatsy.
Ah,
Where were you earlier when somebody said Falky?
Oh, I know. That should have played that, right? So yeah, that's the
I
George
don't-
Norrie soundboard, everybody.
Yay!
What else do you want to see? There's my screens.
can you take us to your bedroom?
No, the cable isn't long enough. I'm sorry, sir.
This
It's not
his
the
And then-
kind of show, Jazz.
And then there's the streaming computer. That's where the audio goes out to everybody on the internet.
Does that foam work? Is it like?
Yes.
Wow, that's really long too. Eddie, you have very long foam.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. All right, so can we talk about something else now?
Okay.
So the rest of the studio, I'll just pan around.
That's the casting couch, right?
That's the casting couch. That's where all the magic happens. I got to tell you, I had some new client in one time, and she asked me if there was semen on my couch. It was like just a random. It was like a random comment. She's like, "Is there a lot of semen on this couch?" And I'm like, "What?"
You said you're hired, right?
Yes.
You're my new intern.
So I hired her immediately, and well, I won't say anything else. Yeah. So that's the studio, everybody.
Thank you, Eddie.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
that was awesome. Now, if you could just figure out why my sound card doesn't feed me into it as loudly as you guys, I would appreciate that.
I don't know why that's
Very good
happening,
question.
Curtis.
Let's see.
But see, your audio comes to us differently than it is showing up for the feed, isn't it? Because that's a different Skype, right?
I have that one muted. So my Skype that's calling into you guys is muted. So you're hearing me come from my board, like straight from there.
So
I'm
we hear
hearing you very
fine,
loudly.
You are.
but the stream that is seeing us,
Yeah.
the video stream is not getting that audio.
Okay, let's see. Right, you're correct. It's getting
And thanks, Jazz Munda. I swear to God.
I guess I should turn my video back on. Right?
So I don't know if anybody else can see this, but Jasmine just keeps posting different pictures of George Norrie on his Skype account.
Here.
So now,
Yep.
so before we had the really cheesy profile or picture of George Norrie standing there smiling, and now we have the next one where he's standing there holding a giant kielbasa, I guess. That's got to be
That's my favorite
photoshopped,
one.
right? That's got to be photoshopped, right?
It has
I
to
think
be.
there's
Got
also
to be.
there's a photo of him just with his hands out there, and there must be a bell gabber who creatively inserted a kielbasa.
A rather large kielbasa too.
Sounds like
Yes.
something one of us would do.
Very large.
Oh, I heard that. I heard whoever just whispered that.
Yeah.
God, I want to say, was it Jazz? Somebody when we were wrapping up our podcast last time, somebody, I think it was like whispering, and I'm like, you have to stop that.
Stop whispering.
Yes, exactly.
Gatun, I like your microphone boom there. Where did you get that? Or what kind of
this is
boom
a-
is that?
This is a Q mic boom, Q dash mic. If you look them up on the web, it's actually a 3-part boom, and it's pretty awesome because now I can actually move around.
Yeah,
So
that is nice.
Yeah,
I just have this little short boom here, and it only goes like that far, and it looks like yours can extend out quite a long
Yeah.
ways. That's what she
yeah,
said.
yeah. If you actually see,
Hey, you beat me to that. That's not fair. It's my one job.
Yeah, that's nice.
We have one job.
yeah, if you want to actually see the setup, let's do that.
Yeah, give us a little tour.
Gatun
All right.
show room.
So-
I'm stopping this right
What?
now at me because I'm sitting in bed. It's not happening, guys.
That's perfectly
I'm sorry
okay.
everyone that I told to send me that $9.99 for this, I'm sorry, there will be no refunds.
No refunds. No refunds.
You're making
So-
money on this, Curtis?
Well, when people thought we were
Not
going to see
anymore.
when people thought they were going to see Ponyboy Sunset's Room, yeah, I was making money, but not anymore.
All right, go ahead, Gatu.
All right. Well, I gotta actually. I actually gotta stand up and grab them. Thing. Cable's getting in the way. All right.
Oh
so,
no, White Crow's threatening to call in and mess with us.
Andy,
So this is actually a flight simulator cockpit that I sit in, and
Wow.
this is it's a Volairsim cockpit, and keyboard, mouse tray are actually come directly up to me,
Oh, nice.
and I have an Allen Heath mixer board, and then there's my mic arm that goes all the way up.
Oh
So
wow.
it's a pretty good and long one, and then my
that's what she said.
Scarlett.
Nice job, Bruce.
the piece that runs all of this is actually that computer right there, and you can't get a good angle at it, but it's a ginormous cube case with pretty awesome little setup, and then
Is it pretty quiet too? The cooling fans and stuff.
yeah, I actually have a fan controller on it that I actually
You
keep
got a
everything
caller,
to
too, by the way.
This is
Nice.
White Crow.
White.
Hello.
What's up, White Girl?
And there's White Crow.
God, I got like 3 different audio feeds coming through. I'm so confused.
It is confusing, isn't it? Sorry, but
Are you guys like an all-in basement there? Is this like Eddie Dean's basement you're hanging out in?
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
You need to
hearing.
mute your stream, sir.
I know I'm going to mute it right now.
Please extinguish thy device.
There we go. So who is upward left here? You can't hardly see the names. We have
You
the
need.
guy with the white hair. I can't read your name.
I would be. This is white hair. Okay,
Now, who
show's
who
over.
are you? I can't
This
read
is-
it. The tech dude. Is that what it says? The
That
tech
is what
dude.
it says. Yeah, you need to bring us full screen. We're really a full screen
Well,
experience.
I got bad eyes. I'm an old guy, and then we got Andy over on the right, and we got Eddie Dean and Ponyboy. You can see your beautiful face. Show your teeth there. See how much of a delay we got.
Yeah, so everyone be
Oh my
quiet.
God.
Let him catch up.
Jazz, I swear.
Hey, how dare you put that picture up of me?
That's
Okay.
not me.
So I'm gonna start doing like that. This is all you
How
get.
can you
You're
guys-
getting my TV. That's it.
Is that cops?
Now the upper middle. Who is that?
Trailer Park Boys.
Oh, okay.
that would be Gatoon.
Oh, are you a bell gabber?
I am not actually. I'm a good friend of Curtis's, so. Or
Alrighty. Well, that's sorry for you. We got Falky up there now. Jazz
Yes.
put it on. That's cool. Yeah. You guys are hilarious.
Well, thank you, White Crow. We appreciate that.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes, we do.
Even with our
Pony
foils.
Boy, I tuned in to see your tats.
Oh, actually, that's a bad joke there, sir. There is one of my cats was actually sleeping on my bed. I don't know if you guys will be able to see. her.
No, not cats.
Tats.
Tattoos.
Oh, there's a cat. Well, let's see if I can do this attempt. There's the fish. The fish is real.
It was a
I have
very
a
good
Detroit Tigers
representation.
statue. Yeah, it's almost healed. It's got a few small spots left, and then I always forget I have like stuff up there. But I've had it for forever.
Explain what
And
those
then
are.
I've
Explain them too.
Oh, all right, we're gonna do a tour of my tattoos.
Yes.
Okay, the
Yes.
Detroit
All
Tigers
right.
is self-explanatory. The fish is from Bell Gab because I don't know who started this. I think Art started calling us vaguely lovable, and
Right.
then somebody said like a school of piranhas, and then somebody else
Mhm.
said piranhas with frickin' laser beams, and then it just escalated. And then somebody drew artwork, and I said, I'm going to get that tattooed on me, and I did.
Cool.
And
Wow.
I got Celtic.
That's intricate.
Celtic. Yeah. I have friends in Ohio. I got that done in Ohio, in Dayton. It symbolizes our friendship. I got the Cub up here, done in Chicago. The clover is for good luck.
Wait, is that the
I'm like,
that
wow.
cub? Is that the Petio bear?
The petty.
Pedo bear.
No, sir. No,
Pedo
sir.
bear?
it's not.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, wait a minute. Didn't
Absolutely.
you had a Detroit Tigers too, right? So you have a cub and
Yep.
a tiger, or cub, yeah,
Yep.
cub and tiger. Wow.
Is the
I was originally going
pedo bear
sports
the
in the
bear that you get kids to point to when they say, "Where did that that gentleman touch you?"
Absolutely. You guys
Okay.
are on to me. And then, absolutely. And then on this side, you're probably going to get a free boob shot because that's just how it's going to work.
That's not
On
free.
this side,
It was $9.99 to.
I have a band that goes all the way around, and then I have a star. Let's see if I can do it. There you go.
Well, what is a cute little bear? Face?
The bear's
Blue bear face.
It's a 1972 Cub. I believe it's from the 70s. I really like the Cubs. I was in Chicago, and my ex-girlfriend,
okay.
I think that's 2 or 3 girlfriends, a girl
Oh,
paid
boy.
for it.
What do you got to, like a sailor? You got to cross off the names as you get a new one.
Oh, no. You never get anyone's names on you ever. I have more, but I
Never.
mean, I'm not getting up and showing you my, like, right above my ass. It's not happening. And I have stuff on my legs, too, but not much. The main
Yeah,
stuff I'm working right now is my arms.
Yeah, you never get any text or any name or anything like that you're gonna regret.
no.
'cause,
Your kids are so smart.
yeah, it's,
Unless it's like the names of
imagery
your
only.
kids, your parents, or like a pet, or something like that. You never ever get like wedding band tattoos. It's a bad idea. I'm just, yeah. He's nodding his head. See, he knows. I mean, and then
I
you got to
know.
go cover it up or have somebody cross it out or none of that. No. So, and I purposely, I was sleeved earlier, and I'm like, oh, I'm doing video. I guess I should actually show, well, the people here that, and that's funny that Curtis said, you really did it. Yeah, I really did it. It's real.
Oh, I believed you, but like to see it is like
seeing
That's
is
big.
believing.
Yeah,
Seeing is believing.
I'm gonna try something here. Hopefully, I don't like kill you guys with an echo. Let's see.
It was this part of my life, that forum has changed my life. I mean, so it seems like it's earned its representation on my arm. I'll have to see what I can get for, the podcast not included.
Why don't you wait a little while before you put that permanently on your body to see how things happen or how things
Oh,
go
yeah,
from
no, it
here.
wouldn't
Yeah,
be
you
word.
may want to wait
like
on
a
that one. I'm out to destroy you guys. I'm on a
Yeah.
mission.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I want to ask. You said you're out to destroy it. What's the plan and why? Explain, White Crow. We want to know.
Well, you guys are competing with Praise MV. You're going to drive them out of business.
So where is
I-
the first off, where is the origination of Praise MV? Who's the first person to say it? Do you know?
I think Greg is.
Greg was
Yeah,
the
I think
originator.
Greg.
Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I mean, it's become like a lexicon of the forum, but I wasn't sure who just like with White Crow, I think MV is the first person to say this is White Crow other than you. So I wasn't sure if
Which is
maybe you made it
interesting.
circular and you were the the first one to come back and give him something else there with the Praise MV. But then second, what part of it makes you feel like it's competing?
Well, look at all the technology you have here. MV can't keep up with this.
Well, he can call too and be a part of all of it. That's always allowed.
Sure, but he's got too big of an ego for that.
But he taught us how to do what we're doing, though. If it was, he's like patient zero in like the podcasting world of Bell Gab. All of us got the itch and moved forward because of that.
Sure. He gave you the wings to fly. I put that in there.
You know what, Curtis? I was listening
No,
to.
Pony Boy Cluey's guys in what I'm doing.
Oh, yeah, he's just screwing with you. I think they know that, though.
Oh yeah, but I want to hear you explain because, like, I know from the past, like the early days of the Falky thread, you were like trolling on a high level for that one, and then you really kind of. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I wouldn't say anything.
Oh,
I was
okay.
listening.
Okay, and
That
then
didn't sound good. What was that?
someone just died, I think, but I don't know who it was.
I was
Someone
closing a
just
door.
walked-
Do I sound better, by the way, on the stream? Because I just changed the way my audio is coming in. Right.
I'll take a look at it.
Okay, if you'll check that for me. But so White Crow, you went from really trying to push yourself as you're on Falky's side, you're helping him, and now you're one of us. Like, sure, yeah, you're having some fun at the expense of other people who are podcasting, but but you're not the same White Crow that started on Bell Gab. So how did that change? And tell us your moment
that's been a long story of my life. Where do we want to start? Let's see. My first memory was when I was 3 years old.
Okay, I'm bored. Move on. Jump up to 2 years ago.
No, I just always have fun boys. I'm still the same me.
Cool. So when are you gonna have your podcast? When is
Oh,
White Crow
My
not included?
podcast.
Yeah.
I can't even hardly turn my computer on.
How many hours a week do you think you spend at Bell Gab?
Oh, that is too time consuming. It's I bet 10.
10 hours?
Good 10 hours.
Is that okay? So
I'm a busy dude too.
this is going to end up being the listener survey. Do you do that on a desktop or a phone or tablet? And if so, who's the provider?
An iPad, my phone, and a laptop.
Okay,
My laptop at work.
nice. And you're like
And the provider is Time Warner.
Time Warner. Okay, we'll also need your IP address, but we'll take that off the air.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you guys figured that all out already. I don't even know what an IP address is, but doesn't WR, you can tell where you live from your IP address or something?
Yeah, you can tell who your provider is and then where you are geographically.
Can you actually, you can't actually zero into my address?
Yeah, I'm doing that right now, White Crow, on my
Oh,
tablet here.
God.
I see your front door right now, sir. So
it turns
I
out you
knew
really are
guys
from
were
Green.
with-
You really need to mow your-
wizards.
you need to mow your
Hey,
lawn.
Nice one, Jazz. I'll rake my leaves. Why don't you guys come over? I could hire you to rake my leaves.
Tell those kids to get off your lawn too. By the way,
The tech dude looks like he could use some money.
I could, man. Can you help me out?
Goody, man.
You can donate all money to that tech dude. Just write the check to that, put it in the mail. They'll take care of the rest. Don't worry about it. But make sure whatever you send me, you have to send double that to Bell Gab, though. That's the only request.
I would gladly do it.
All right, cool. Okay, so Gatun, do I sound any better on the stream? The answer is yes.
Negatory.
I still can't hear the tech dude, and Katoon is drinking a beer right now. What kind of beer are you drinking?
I've got this winter's cream stout from Sam Adams on me today.
What's your preferred craft beer, White Crow? I'm assuming you have a lot of them in your area.
I like Hacker Shore, actually. It's my favorite beer.
Cool.
Has been for a lot of years. Hacker
Which
Shore
one was that?
Weiss.
Hepperweiss?
It's a German imported beer. No, we used to smoke those big ones like Jazz has up there on his screen back in the day when pot was cheap.
But it wasn't as good back then, though, was it?
I don't know. I haven't smoked for 30 plus years. We get drug testing at work. Can't do that stuff.
I thought you were
being the boss.
I thought you were the boss man.
I am, but I gotta follow the exam. I gotta lead it.
You got to lead.
Yeah.
Well,
That
that's
whole
why.
example thing,
Well, when I first heard you, White Crow, I thought, now here's a good, upstanding citizen who leads by example. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Now, if only you could fix
What'd
my
you-
audio setup. Can you come over here and do that for me?
I could throw some money at it if that helps.
I don't think money's the problem. It's technical capability is the
That's
problem.
always the problem.
Yeah.
Seat and the keyboard, between the seat and the keyboard, always that.
It is user error or user lack of knowing. What I've learned about doing all of the podcasting with audio is a lot easier than trying to do with video. But like the more complicated you try to make your setup, the more points of failure obviously you've set into it too. And it's just, if you listen to our last episode, you would have heard me do my my Hulk scream of frustration. I'm going to add someone else to our call here. Hold on just a moment.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I wouldn't even.
Here we go, Ken. Can you hear us?
Hey guys. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey.
Who is this?
I'll.
this?
You put.
Is
This
this
is
White
John.
Crow?
who is this?
I think you had a few too many.
Who is?
Are we being punked right now?
I hope so. Who is our caller?
Whoever.
Hello, this is Windows Technical Department. There is a virus on your PC sending messages to our server in India.
No, I get that call.
Yeah.
Have you gotten
I
that call
get
before?
I get that call about once a month.
Yeah.
Did they
Me
hang
too.
up?
They did. They hung up. So let's remove them from our group. I will not block them because I'll give them a chance to try again, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. People mute your devices.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So
I
do you
don't want
think
to
that
hear
person?
myself.
So do you think that person was just happened to accidentally call into this show, or do you think they purposefully called in and just had technical issues?
Yeah, that is funny. They were from the same area code that our call-in number, which I guess I never gave. If you want to call in from a phone line, you can call us at 317-708-4500, or on Skype, call Why So Technical with a question mark at the end and join us, like that last person did, who obviously wasn't ready to give us full control of their Windows PC.
Hello.
Well, let's
Hello?
jump into some Halloween stories. White Crow, do you have a scary story?
No, I don't think so.
What's the one Halloween story that has stuck with you throughout the years, through all of your wise years of growing into the leader you are today, that sets examples? What's the one story that makes
Well, see, I'm old and slow. You guys talk amongst yourself, and I'll see if I can rattle a few cobwebs out and come up with one.
you? Okay, let's go to Pony Boy. You had something to share with us, right?
Yeah, hang on. I was talking to the chat room. Actually, I
Alright.
just was typing at B-Dub. I'm sorry. See, I can't even say B-Dub with these fangs in.
Yeah.
Well, I had a couple things I could talk about. I'm like, now I'm all like on the spot. I'm like,
Sorry, I should have eased us into
no,
that.
it's
maybe.
okay. Okay, let's.
Well-
Okay, first
Well,
of
actually,
all,
here, I've got another plan for us we can go with. Jazz.
Well, I got some stories. Wait.
Go
I got
ahead.
some stories.
Hey, the
So
floor is
these
yours.
aren't exactly Halloween stories, but they're kind of similar. Stuff, pranks we used to do when we were kids. How's that?
Oh, go
At
for it.
night?
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
yeah, we're all for it.
So we had a tree hanging across a local road. So we made up a dummy with hung him by the rope, and then when a car would come by, we'd swing it down from the tree and slam the brakes on, and we did that a bunch of times. And the cops were always after us, of course, and they knew who we was. But one night, one of the cars wouldn't have ditched. That wasn't cool.
Wow. So a car had an accident because of what you guys were doing.
Hey, because of what we were doing, yeah, we were pretty crazy when we were kids. We slipped out all summer in tents. Our parents were, Depression era people, so we had no idea what the hell we were doing. We'd get up at like 2:00 in the morning, and say, "Oh yeah, Mom, we're coming in now. Yeah, we've been up early cooking ourselves breakfast." Well, we were up all night, and we had a blast when we were kids. Another time, one of our neighbors, a couple of World War II veterans, these guys would literally drink 2 cases of beer a night between them. They would start in the afternoon and they'd get so drunk, and we'd go over there and we'd swipe their beer and cigarettes all the time and get loaded ourselves, and they kind of knew we were doing that. And we're 12, 13, 14 years old at the time. And they would So they get drunk and they're telling, they start telling all their World War II stories, which were quite fascinating. They're both in the Pacific Theater, but then they'd end up crying and just reminiscing at the end of the night. But the point of the story is they would have a 55-gallon drum full of beer cans by the end of the 2 nights they would do this, on Friday and Saturday night. We'd take those, we'd get, back in the day, we used burlap bags, and we'd fill those up with the beer cans, and then we'd build a wall of beer cans across the road in the middle of the night with, as the car comes over the hill, and the beer cans would all go flying. Are you enjoying these stories?
Yeah.
So you really were the outlaw there in the early days.
No, that was all
no.
That was all good fun kid
I'm
stuff back
joking.
when we were. Yeah.
You couldn't get away with that
No,
today.
we would take gasoline and spread it across the road. Same thing. Wall of flames. Oh, good fun stuff.
Yeah.
We'd get gunpowder and we'd fill up somebody's bathtub with it and light it off. Boom! It was funny, boy. We just innocent little kids, just having fun. I'm White Crow.
Well, Jimmy found that stick of dynamite, and he thought, let's go down to the mine shaft and let it off. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
White Crow said, I don't know. Let's wait until we get a crowd of people around, and then we can try
You
it.
got it.
Yeah.
We went out and egged cars one time. We were kind of in this. We were in this ravine, and the road was above us, and we were chucking eggs up and hitting cars as they were driving by. And, just having a good old time. And then all of a sudden, we threw one up and we hit a car and we heard the brakes just slammed on the brakes. And the guy jumped out of his car and, hey, what the hell are you kids doing? And he just took off after us and just scared the shit out of me. Never did that again.
Yeah, that was about a monthly occurrence. Well, we'd use tomatoes. We couldn't afford eggs.
Did anybody get out and chase you off?
Oh God, yeah, a lot of times. It was always that was a part of the fun because we knew where to hide.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got
Yeah,
nothing in all the
yeah.
stories I could tell are totally not appropriate for this conversation.
Yeah, yours would be right. Maybe tell us some, Pony Boy. Start with a nice one.
No, it's funny. As soon as you guys started talking about overpasses, I was like, I had sex in an overpass. I did. That was the first thing I thought. See, this is not scary stuff, okay?
But wait, were you doing that behind the embankment, or not embankment, but were you on top of the
No, this was like a pedestrian bridge, Wayne State. I was on the way home from a bar with my ex-girlfriend, and we were really drunk. And we were walking back from the bar to her loft, and we decided that would be a great place to, And we did, and then
when the moment hits,
it gets
you.
better.
This is your ex-girlfriend.
Not the recent ones. This was a few years ago. It gets
Okay,
better
so it's your
on the way
ex then.
home.
I gotcha.
After we went through the overpass, the pedestrian bridge. Well, that wasn't quite enough for us, and they were doing construction across the street, so we wound up having sex in a bulldozer.
And a bulldozer?
On it,
And then what happened?
Well, then we finally went home and went to bed, to sleep, not to bed,
Yeah.
In case any of you don't know, I am a lesbian, and it tends to be a marathon thing. Us having sex quickly is, a relative term to us. Let's just put it that way.
So
That's because there's no guys involved.
I was going to say, define that, because as a guy, I think 30 seconds to 60 seconds is a long time. So
20 minutes would be fast with a lesbian.
Oh,
okay.
Goodness.
I'm fast
Okay.
asleep by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
smoked a pack of cigarettes by then.
it's funny. I hadn't thought about that story in forever, and you guys were talking about overpasses, and the first thing that pops in my head is sex. Clearly, we know what needs to happen for me currently.
I wish that's what I thought when I heard an overpass, because that's far cooler than just hey, I drove over an overpass. my thought.
So Pony Boy, you seem to have some issues with holding on to a life partner. What do we call these, significant others? I can't keep up with these terms anymore.
Oh, hey, Beat Up tried to call us. He said there's no more room in our hot tub.
Yeah, let me try again. I'm going to see if I can add him, because I was just talking to him too to see I'm gonna see if I
Okay,
can add him rather than because it wouldn't give me the option
no.
to.
The last one wasn't my fault. She was crazy. That's what everybody says about women, right? Hey, I can talk to all you guys. I'm assuming that all of you are straight. That's probably a big assumption for me to make. But
Do I look
You know.
straight to you?
Not
Yeah, but you
currently.
said,
Radio
you said the
show.
last one.
Hey, we
Pony
got.
Boy, you said the last one. That indicates there was a string of others before that.
oh yeah, we don't want to go down that depressing road, sir.
B-Dev is with us now.
Hey, beat up.
Is that White Crow?
Oh,
It
hey,
is.
I mean, like to 25. You know, I could just like put a number on it, and then we could end it there, just so I get a.
Is this the radio
how many
program called Wiso Testicle?
yes, it is.
Yes,
But-
it is,
but
sir.
It's one less testicle than you would expect, though.
Oh, okay.
Only one.
You're assuming everyone has 2 testicles here,
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
with the
my
exception
goodness.
of Pony.
Things suddenly got really personal.
Yeah. Well, White Crow.
Yeah, I have no testicles.
Thanks for calling us, White Crow.
Yeah, okay.
appreciate
See you guys.
See ya.
Later, man.
Yeah.
Later.
White Crow.
That was White Crow.
This is White Crow.
We've got another
Yeah,
person
I'm-
calling too. Sorry, I'm going to add them really
Holy
quick here.
cow.
Yeah. Let's see. So we've got looks like Jonathan Solomon. You are on the air.
Yay,
Party line.
hello.
Hey, how are you?
Cool. I just loved your podcast. I was listening. I tried to call using my phone, and you thought I was this Indian.
No, that was our tech support person actually who took my call. How did you get to us from the YouTube channel, or are you a bell gabber?
From the YouTube channel, actually. I was
Oh.
searching around, just sitting home, bored,
Oh, perfect.
exhausted.
Fantastic.
That's awesome. So, do you have any scary stories or Halloween stories you can share with us?
I wish I did, because I have Halloween phobia, guys.
Oh, you do. Well,
Like,
then,
I am damn scared of Halloween.
well,
You should see me right now, because I am full blankets over my head, scared to death right now.
oh, really? Are you scared? Let's dig deeper into this. Are you scared of the people out there, or the fangs of Ponyboy Sunset? What are the where does the fear come
Everything
from?
Halloween related is like so scary to me.
Do you feel that way about like just scary movies in general, or is it the season itself?
The season itself, like before, like Halloween Eve is like okay, seeing people dress up, I'm okay with that. Halloween, I think like that's the day I die, because it's very scary to me. Because if you go outside, it's I'm like in Denver, Colorado right now, and it's
Oh, really?
the road is dressed up with Halloween stuff.
So you're not a fan of the movie The Purge, I'm guessing.
I love the Purge.
Oh, you do
actually.
love The Purge. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. That's interesting then that the Halloween season itself is what worries you or makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah. I have like a knife next to me, and I'm so scared. I'm
Oh, really?
I have that next to my bed just in case, you know.
So what if it's a ghost? What are you going to do if a ghost is what comes into your house and it's not a person in a mask?
Yeah, you got a point there, but
So, did you ever trick or treat when you were a kid?
never. I have
No?
never trick or treated. I have never went outside my door on Halloween day.
Because it freaks you out so much. So, where did that come from? Did
I don't
something
know.
happen when you were a kid on Halloween? Movies?
Yeah, mostly movies and games.
That's
You know,
interesting.
movies aren't real, right?
I understand that, but you know, you never know.
What if you're really hungry and you need to go to Taco Bell? You need to make a run to the border. Would you do that on
Yeah.
Halloween, or do you like stock up? Do you prep for Halloween? Like you plan throughout the week? This is what I'm going to do.
Uh-huh, exactly. I try to collect all the numbers I can get for the delivery service.
Mhm.
So, you know, Pizza Hut does delivery, so I just open the door just in case, check like 3-4 times that it's the delivery guy. Then I take the pizza, you know.
So, do you stockpile water and you buy water filters and all that kind of stuff?
Actually,
before
I have
Halloween?
an emergency pack like in my basement.
Like a bug out bag?
Yeah, huh?
What's in your bug out bag?
I have big ass first aid kits, water, knife, and flashlight, radio, and canned food.
Oh, you're prepared, sir. The zombie apocalypse, you're prepared.
We hope so.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do your
Bomb
friends?
shelter level.
Yeah. Do your friends know this about you? I mean, they obviously have to because you don't go to
No.
parties with them, right? Is this something that you shared with your friends, family? Everyone knows that this is like a day to leave you alone, or do they prank you? I think we might have lost him.
Looks like we did.
Well, give us
Thank
a-
you and goodbye.
Yeah, give us a call back if you want to share more. So really quick, Jazz, you were part of the ghost stories last night, right? With Art on Dead Air.
That's correct.
How was that? Was it were you nervous? I know you called into Dark Matter for the ghost show on that. Were you nervous this time, or were you nervous that time, or tell us?
No,
about
I
that.
don't. I don't generally get nervous when I call in. I feel a little bad because I know that there were people sort of before I called were waiting on the line to get through because in the thread and Belgab, there were a couple of posters who said they're on hold now. I called in and I was my call was taken straight away.
You have the red bat phone straight to him.
So perhaps, yeah. So from that perspective, I felt a little bad that I got straight in the front door. But I don't really get nervous.
That's cool.
I sort of knew the story I was going to tell, so I sort of knew it well. So, yeah.
Have you ever considered calling Art before with that story, or was it just kind of all of a sudden you felt like sharing that highly personal story?
Well, it was also something that I only first learned about it earlier this year. So once I did hear about it, I was always going to save that for Ghost to Ghost, or Dead Air as it is now called.
Yeah, what do you guys think about that? Do you like Dead Air as the name, or I don't want to take too much away from you guys. I know the podcast not included show on Monday. You're probably going to delve into this more. So,
And we're
Yeah,
all here, by the way.
that's true. You are.
That's true.
Yeah. So you guys talk about that for a minute since we are here, and you're live with our group of people and everyone listening to the Halloween.
Yeah, this
stuff.
can be an Easter egg on our DVD release.
Exactly.
Absolutely. I like the name personally. Dude, yeah, there's that list. That's so great. I dug it. I thought the name was good.
Cool. He really seemed to be into it. That's for sure.
I preferred Midnight in the Graveyard personally.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought the name, I can't even remember what the name was. Talking Dead? No, that's a TV show. What was the name of it?
Dead Air, sir.
Dead Air was a lot better than Midnight in the Graveyard, in my opinion, anyway.
Oh, we have a
Dead Air to
podcast not
me-
included controversy.
Dead Air to me
Dun,
doesn't
dun,
really
dun.
say.
Getting serious
I mean-
now.
Dead Air doesn't really. I mean, what does it mean? It means dead air on the radio. Like,
Yeah. Or it could mean dead people on the radio.
Now, that would be great radio. Which there was dead people on the radio last night, right?
EVPs, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, were those all new EVPs, or I guess there were
No.
some sprinkled in there that we've heard before, right?
there was some new. When you say new, I think there was some that it wasn't necessarily new, but it had never been aired before, meaning that they might have been recorded years ago, but never aired on Art Bell's show.
But Brendan wasn't there.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it, to hear just Brenda and him communicating throughout the
Barbara,
segments?
you
Yeah,
mean.
Barbara, yeah.
It's not Brendan and Brenda.
Oh, you're right. Who is Brendan? Is Brendan somebody who does
no, Brendan's the guy.
what?
But he left
Barbara-
halfway
okay.
through last show he was on, remember?
Yeah.
Like he left abruptly. He had to work. I believe that's what was said.
Yeah, I said Brenda, didn't I, when I meant Barbara.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. How about that? I saw in Bell Gap someone mentioned Chunga. Was he? I missed any discussion of him. Was he actually brought up last night? I missed it on the air discussion of him.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No,
No, I
he
don't think
wasn't.
so.
And when the GIS were on earlier in the Midnight in the Desert run, he wasn't mentioned either.
Isn't it like the elephant in the room that at some point I'd like to hear that explained?
I doubt we'll ever hear an explanation of that.
Yeah, I
I
think.
wonder why.
Yeah, I think Brandon or Brendan or whatever the fuck his name is kind of like apparently he's not very involved in GIS anymore.
Is he focused on his DJ career too?
I don't know. I think GIS is quasi defunct now.
Well, that's too bad in a world where they could be on a TV show and they always talked about how they didn't want to monetize the thing, but in the world now, in the way the whole world of EVPs and ghost investigations can make big money, they should. I mean, they were one of the early names. They're the first group I know of doing what they were doing. So why don't they have a TV show on Discovery or?
Well, yeah, especially when they seem to be far more trustworthy than anyone that actually does have a TV show.
Yeah, and you would think they have a catalog of EVPs, right? That's bigger than anyone.
But I think it was because they weren't selling anything, they weren't on a TV show, that they had more credibility because of that. And I think they thought that too. And I think maybe they thought if they start doing those things, then they lose all the credibility. So it was sort of a catch-22.
Mm-hmm. That's too bad, though.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Did anybody else think some of those EVPs sounded really fake? Like in the sense where they didn't normally sound the way we're used to hearing them?
One of them sounded so clear that even Art commented that it sounded really clear. I don't think he went so far as saying that it was fake, but he brought it up saying, wow, that sounds really awkward and clear to me, more clear than normal.
I have a follow-up for you, Eddie, since you do this. Could you make one? Like, given your skill, could you make something that sounded like what we heard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we have no idea if what we're getting is real.
Yeah, you basically have to trust the fact that they're telling you the truth.
Yeah,
and I always trusted the GIS because of whatever, because they weren't selling anything and making money. So I always trusted them. But and in a way that I don't trust those ghost TV shows when they show me something, I don't trust them.
But then 100%. You got chunged.
Right.
Oh, I got chunged big time.
We all got chunged.
Yeah.
So
it's like getting churched.
Yeah. So is that like a mental thing for us? That does it like for you, Pony Boy, they even have the thought that this was too clear? Do you think maybe if Chunga had never been in the picture that you wouldn't have that little bit of doubt? Because that's all it takes is a little bit of doubt to come into it.
No, my doubt came from the audio quality because I've done it and gotten stuff myself. So it's not that I don't believe that it's possible. It just was like nothing I'd ever heard. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. And I'm going to pop these fangs out in a minute so I can actually talk. It just means for me personally that I was on the fence about a couple of them because it sounded mixed. For lack of a better term, it sounded like somebody went into a studio and made it. And see, when you get real ones, they're barely audible. You can't really hear them. So I don't know. I'm not saying it was fake. I'd be shocked if they threw something out there that was fake, but what do I know? Maybe that's what the dissent in the group is about. Wow, I'm getting all controversial.
Well, the thing about it being too clear and not sounding like what you've heard in the past, can you talk a little bit about the EVPs that you've gotten that you are confident since you were there in that process? What made them not sound so clear? Just give some backstory on your EVPs.
Like, why do I think they didn't sound as clear? Oh, that's great. I took the fangs out, but I've got like the gummy stuff that's stuck in my gums.
But that's like me. I've been going like this because I have like little hairs all over my face from that wig I was wearing.
Anyway, when I got the couple I got and we played them and the guys didn't hear them, but I've had other people hear them. You know what I mean? So it's like once we get to that point, I'm not exactly entirely sure. Like, I know the ones I got because I was there and I felt it. I was with other people who felt the same thing. And actually we went back to the same place we got them at and we all audibly heard stuff the next time together. All heard the same thing. So there's no explaining that. And that doesn't mean that what they got doesn't mean that Class A's don't exist or whatever. It just, like Eddie was saying, something was uncomfortable. Like something, even Art commented that he wasn't fully invested.
Yeah.
Excuse me, a few of them. So, I mean, it's like anything else. I don't know. Like, there was just something, like, I enjoyed the show last night. Not to take away from anything we were going to talk about, in 2 days, but I really dug it. And there was a lot of dissension on the thread. Like, people were pissed that he had a co-host. And I'm like, they need to let that go.
Yeah.
People are pissed in that thread every night, though. I mean, that's nothing.
Well-
It's Bell Gab.
That's what makes Bell Gab is that if it was
Right.
all everybody saying that, oh, that was the best episode ever and he hit it on all cylinders and this was great, the guest did it right, then the site would die tomorrow. So yeah, it's kind of
Right.
good to have that dissension in the thread during it. That's to me when people come to Bell Gab and they're like, oh, this is such a happy-go-lucky group of people. I'm like, you don't know the website you're on then, so give it some time to sink in and wait until your favorite thing is put up on a cross and crucified, then you'll know what Bell Gab is. But yeah, that going back to that show, I didn't get to hear all of it, but when I did hear it, the thing that I liked the most was that if you go back and listen to the Dark Matter Ghost show, where there was a struggle, you could tell that there was a struggle for Art to get good calls in. I mean, he had some good ones planned, but like he didn't get that organic people just calling in like it felt like was going to happen for the new show. And he also seemed distracted by the fact he was missing out on stuff in his personal life with his daughter going out for trick-or-treating. That this episode, I mean, that was Art, the way you want to hear Art at Halloween. So that part made me really happy, regardless of how the co-host thing went or all that. I think Art at this point too wants to be clear that his shows are not. This isn't Coast to Coast AM, so he's going to mix it up. And why can't he have a co-host if he wants to?
I thought it was great. I really liked it. I was surprised.
We just had something happen here. Something just happened. You
Yeah,
went.
no, it's
Robot.
People are dropping their videos, so I don't know if that's delivered, but
I don't know what just happened there.
Robot.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah, I
your microphone maybe just went weird. But
oh, that's me. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's weird. It's
Yeah, I'm not hearing
Android,
anybody
your
else.
speech algorithm is malfunctioning.
Well, I know what happened. I mine up to take my bangs out.
do you want to unplug your headset and plug it back in really quick and see if that makes a difference? And you're on a Mac too, so Mac always has something weird on Skype after about an hour of which we've been talking for a little over an hour now, but that it'll go
Well,
weird.
Just leave it
Go
to
ahead.
the fruit
we
man.
did the
Just leave it
first PNI cast Monday, and we were on for almost 2 hours. I never had a problem with mine.
Okay, you're on a Mac too.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're still doing it. It's weird.
Don't diss my platform, bro.
Oh, I'm on a Mac too. When I'm actually connected to you guys on as a Mac, so I'm all for
So
it.
it's still doing what? What is it doing?
Like you have like a weird artifact happening after your voice. Like when you talk, there's almost like an echo of you robotically.
You sound like a robot.
Yeah, but we can hear you too, though. That's what's weird about it. Is like it's like that it's an EVP. We're hearing an EVP of you talking right after you talk.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, is it better now?
Yes, it
Yep.
is.
better now.
Yep, you fixed it.
Wow, that I'm gonna have to remember to do that when we're doing our show to unplug the damn headsets because I'm using a. Can I say fuck? I'm gonna
go
say
ahead.
fuck.
Yeah, you can say whatever.
It's because I'm using a fucking Microsoft headset because that's what I was recommended because of this debacle. I can't bash that show that I was on, but like they were all upset about the technical quality of my audio. So I will say this much. It's working well and it's comfortable, but whatever. Now I know after about an hour I have to unplug and plug back in.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, it's okay. This is starts from a technical show, so you can tell us all about that. What was your audio setup before you went and bought the?
Oh, I
headset?
had a Shure microphone that was about a $60 microphone into a 4-track mixer that was a piece of garbage, but worked for me for years, into my Mac, and I'm pretty sure that it's either the ports on this Mac because it's used, or it's one of my cables to the microphone.
Okay.
Eddie and I were going to work on it, and I just bought the headset because I was told to buy the headset because I'm going to be doing different radio and book interviews, and this is what they want me to use for it. So we decided to try the headset before I invested any more money, and lo and behold, it's held up very well. It sounds very clear. So I don't know, though, that I will invest more money, but I could. I'd like to have a mixer in case I want to play stuff during our show, because that's
Right.
something I want to be able to have the freedom to do, and I can't do that right now.
Yeah. One
I'm
thing.
also on a... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm on a 2006 Mac, so let's hope that my book gets signed and I can buy and upgrade my system, you know?
Yeah. Are you on an iMac or a Mac Mini or
A
MacBook?
little Mac. I'm on a MacBook, the white ones.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're running a Core 2 Duo probably, right?
That
For the
would be
CPU.
correct, sir.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably time. Because you can't upgrade to the latest OS either, right?
No, I'm behind. I have a
Yeah.
piece of crap PC I could do this from too.
Yeah.
It's from about
but
2008. So
I think the white ones stopped maybe 2 versions ago.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
on what am I on right now?
Couldn't
Lion?
go to
Let's
couldn't
see.
go to
Yeah, you
Snow
could-
Leopard.
Oh,
No,
Snow
I'm on
Leopards.
Lion.
Yeah. Lion is after Snow Leopard, so you've been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See.
Anyway,
me and
it
my
seems to be
knowledge is
working
maxed.
okay for what I'm doing now. And if I shouldn't say if, because that's going to happen. When my book gets signed, I'm going to just buy a new computer because I need one for that anyway. We can get into that. So you people who are Mac people, what do you think about getting an Air? Like, I don't need a disk drive. I can load stuff that way. I mean, is this a bad move?
The only problem with the Air that I have, I mean, I like the Air overall, but the lack of ports on it drive me crazy. That's what bugs me, because you don't have a built-in Ethernet port, if I remember right, on an Air. And
You don't have that on a new MacBook Pro either.
There's not an Ethernet port on the MacBook Pro, the latest?
No.
That's annoying. I mean,
Yeah.
I just bought my wife one of those new ones which have the gold, silver, and grey option.
yeah, that's
and
the MacBook, yeah.
Yeah, it's the MacBook, and it doesn't have an Ethernet, and it took so long to to do. You know how what's the migration assistant?
Yeah.
Over Wi-Fi took forever. Took like 3
Well,
days.
Here's the secret. If you want to use Ethernet, you can get an Ethernet to Thunderbolt adapter.
Right. But I hate that.
What
That's
the
extra.
hell would I
Yeah.
use Ethernet for? I haven't used Ethernet in years.
For migration assistant.
Well, I
Other
like to have a
than that,
wired
though.
connection. I like to have
So
a
what
wired
I
connection.
what I ended up doing, it took it was taking like 3 days, and then it was hanging on the last, minute remaining. So I canned it, and then just I don't know why I didn't think of it before. I just took the Time Machine back up and restored from there, and that worked perfectly, very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another accessory you have to be using then to do it.
Well, I had that anyway, so
Yeah, well,
I
yeah,
don't know why I
right.
didn't do that from the beginning.
Yeah, well, that's what's so great about Apple is all these things just work when you plug them in. It's just
Yeah.
it's just the things like that. Like, if you're only going to do Wi-Fi, then why not? Then please optimize the migration assistant to where it can work a lot quicker. But
So, would you get a Pro over an Air? See, I like the Air because it's lighter. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking for something I can take with me to write. But since I'm getting into doing this, and I'm sure this isn't the last time I'm going to be doing podcasting, maybe I need to go with a Pro when I do it. The one I have now, I paid $150 for last year.
I would say you probably want to go with a Pro because you just have so many more ports with the Pro, and that gives you a lot more choices.
yeah, I would go if you want small. I mean, if you're already thinking about an Air, that means you're okay with a smaller screen, like a 13
Yeah,
inch.
absolutely. Yep.
I would get I have a 13-inch Mac Pro, and mine's a 2012. So I mean, it's older too, but it works great. And again, I like the fact that it has all the ports I need, and it does have has Thunderbolt, Ethernet, which I like to have. Like if I'm transferring a lot of data over my network, I don't just like Jazz Experience. I don't want to wait forever for those transfers to happen. But the other thing about it, like the biggest benefit of going to the Pro is being able to drive extra monitors off of it. So if you ever want to dock it, or not dock it, but you want to sit it to the side and use a bigger screen, it's going to be a lot better if you do that on a Mac Pro versus how you do that on an Air. It's just a better process,
Yeah.
better video processor to handle it.
I figured that's the route I should go, and I'll probably buy a used machine anyway, because that's usually how I roll. Because I don't usually have to have the latest and greatest to do what I need. I'm not doing I'm not doing any kind of heavy tech stuff.
Here's what you should do instead of buying used. Go on the Apple site, and if you go down to the bottom, if you go to the
Refurbished.
store, if you go to the store and you go to the very bottom of the page, you'll see a line, a link for refurbished. If you click that, you can get a deal on like refurbished Mac. And the reason that's better than buying used is because the refurbished Macs have like a warranty that is identical to a new machine.
Yeah, that's what I do
Cool.
too. Yeah, mine
I
is refurbished.
would feel terrible talking about this stuff, but isn't this what your show is normally about?
It is. That's perfectly fine. And it is a horror story. Anytime you buy an Apple, you realize that you've just bought into a cult, and everything's going to work, but you're locked into it from this point forward.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I
The
finally.
only-
Go ahead, Jess.
The only time I've ever bought refurbished it was the time I've had the most problems with an Apple product ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I've torn the machine I have apart inside and out because I originally bought one in '06 when they came out, and I got stuck in a rainstorm my last year of college. I almost had it working again, except the motherboard got wet. I mean, I was two steps away till everything else was firing. I had bought new parts. I put it together, had it gutted, laying on a desk and everything. So the reason I was comfortable buying a used one of something I already had, I know how it works. If I have to fix it, I can do it. It wasn't a big deal. But I'm hoping by the time I, sell my book, I'll have enough money. I just walk into a store and say, "Take my $2,000." You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And I'm fine with that because I got the best care. They replaced. I mean, I had stuff go bad the last year. I had Apple Care at that point. They replaced everything, even because at that point that was where the bezel and everything was chipping. They replaced all that. I mean, it was great. I finally switched to an iPhone this last go round, and I love it. I'm never going back.
Yeah,
Which
try
is
doing
why.
that with a Dell.
Welcome to the cult.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I'll be right back. I'm going to hand the keys of everything over to you for a moment, okay?
I had a question. For Gatun. Have you ever bought just like a prefabbed computer, or do you just build your own from the last 10 years or so? I mean, because the reason I say that is because, all the Apple stuff, you can't buy it or you can't build an Apple PC, but you can build a IBM PC, I guess. And you save tons of money, but the only thing is you don't get that tech support and, all that extra feature stuff.
So, my day job, I'm a systems analyst, so I really don't need that other piece of tech support. But yes, in the last '09, I bought an actual Alienware right before Dell bought out Alienware. I do have an Alienware laptop that I bought. It's a gaming system replacement laptop, which is kind of awesome. So I can actually go around and play games when I'm moving around. But thing weighs like 16 pounds. So you're not talking about a mobile device. It's a mobile workstation in reality. But I actually have a Dell Optiplex machine sitting right behind my main gaming system here. That is actually I bought off of refurbished at one point, not for warranty purposes. But on the other side, I have a Dell PowerEdge T420 server that I did buy with warranty and everything in it. So there are reasons, like on the server side, there's a very good reason to buy on the prefab side. But the machine that I run off of, no, it's been custom built, of course, and yeah, it's but it is strictly for gaming stuff mostly. And I'm actually working on getting a workstation, so I don't even have to boot the gaming machine unless I'm gaming. So I'll have a separate workstation for that. So
I don't know. It seems like all the extra stuff that you're paying for Apple is that, tech support and, all the help that some people need to do whatever,
Yeah.
Well, tech support, but also they replace any components that fail.
Is that for the life of the machine, or is that just for like 2 years or a limited type of warranty?
For the life of the Apple Care policy on the device, so it varies. It could be a year and a half. It could be a year. It could be 3 years.
Yeah. Any of those. I work in education, so one of the things I deal with is mass amounts of Mac products in some schools that are out there. So, yeah, those Apple Care. Most of the schools do buy Apple Care for a 4-year gig because you're giving a device to a student for 4 years while they're in high school generally. So they want to have 4 years replacement warranties on them. And the schools that actually opt and pay for that dollars, though, that is fantastic. And yeah, I do see the point in that. So,
wow, if you're giving out Apple devices to the students who go to that school, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've got schools that actually give MacBooks out to everybody, and we have schools that give iPads out to everybody, and we have schools that give Chromebooks out to everybody.
How much are they paying? I mean, they're buying those in bulk, right? So I imagine that they're not paying $2,000 or whatever the cost is for a MacBook. I mean, I imagine they're not paying retail for that. They're getting huge discounts because they buy bulk.
They buy bulk, and then you also have education discounts. Now, on the Apple side, education discounts are almost non-existent anymore. They've kind of really pulled a lot of that stuff away. The cost is still pretty darn high. You have to be a school that has quite a bit of a big budget to pull that off. It's just like any business. If any business wanted to go out there and do it, I mean, you don't hear about that anymore. 5 years ago, my company would have handed me a cell phone. Now they don't even do that anymore. Nobody hands you a cell phone. They make you use your own, and they just pay you to use your own. So
you can bill them. You can overbill them if you want. Yeah, I used 45,000 gigs this month, so
yeah, I just get 25. Here's some money to help pay for your phone bill, which doesn't even get close to paying for my phone bill. So
you can scam them pretty good. I would anyway. I'm not saying that you're a scammer, but I'm saying if I worked there, I might scam them.
Yeah, that would be. I would come up with some fake bills pretty quickly. Make them look perfect, and go, "This was my bill last month, I swear." No, back to your question about the machines that I built. Though you asked earlier about whether this thing stays nice and cool or quiet.
Yeah.
This machine actually has a fan controller in it that only kicks it up as high. Like most of my fans right now are running about 1,300 RPM, so that's fairly low compared to what they can run at totally. And it kicks up and down based on heat. So right now the machine's not being ever heavily used, so it's probably going to stay totally quiet. It's silent.
Yeah.
But I can hit a button and they'll go full speed. So.
And it's probably pretty loud when they go full speed, doesn't it?
Actually, the fans I decided to go with this case don't even they're not a high velocity fan, so they stay pretty quiet even at the highest speed. So I decided to go with a series of fan that actually has good throughput through a dust filter. So rather than, I didn't care about volume of air or how fast they could turn or anything like that. I just cared about how well they pulled through an air filter. So
right, because in my environment, in the studio environment, fan noise is a big concern. Like 10 years ago, well, not 10 years. Well, yeah, I guess it was maybe 9 years ago. I had a PC that was just noisy. I mean, just loud, and they didn't even care. PC companies and fan and cooling systems, they didn't give two shits about how loud they were. But this last PC I bought maybe 4 years ago, it's just a huge difference in how quiet it is. You still hear the air moving, and it still keeps everything cool inside, but it's not half as loud as it used to be.
Yeah, the biggest change in that was when they stopped going, 80 millimeter fans are the biggest fans we're allowed to put in a case, and we'll just put 30 of them in there. When they started doing larger, 120 and 140 millimeter fans, and some of the cases I've seen even bigger ones at 200 millimeter, and you're talking about a 200 millimeter fan, you ain't got to turn that fan very fast to get the airflow you need to cool your components. So, this is a good tech tip for if we have any listeners anymore this evening.
We have we have millions of listeners right now. I just checked the numbers, and this is like the most popular thing YouTube has ever done. And really,
you'll get some on the download anyway. So please go ahead, dole out.
Yeah, absolutely. So bigger fans push more air at lower speeds, so you have less noise with more airflow. And I have a ginormous fan that I used to have on my water-cooled radiator for my old computer. And Curtis remembers this computer from back in the day. And this fan, when you actually put it at 12 volts of power coming to it, it sounded like a blower. I mean, it was like you could hear it in like 3 rooms away. And if you turned it at 7 volts, you did not hear the fan, but you could hear the wind whistling through the radiator from that fan.
Right.
And that's the way to make a PC nice and quiet.
We know the big thing with fans that changed over the last few years. Like Eddie, you were saying that back in the day, they didn't care at all about how loud it was. As PCs became acceptable in the living room connected to your computer, connected to your TV, that's when they started to say, okay, we need to make these quieter. Like the Xbox and PlayStation, when those became better to use like on a long-term basis for playing video games, that's when PC makers decided, okay, we got to do something to make these machines not as loud, because it's not just kids now who are playing games. It's a whole series of people, adults too. They don't want to have this big loud thing that's driving everyone crazy in their house. So,
Right.
So they made a big difference for the sound on computers. Looks
Yeah,
like
because the adults have all the money.
that's right. Yeah, you got to go with who's going to spend.
Right.
Looks like B-Dub had to go. But
Yeah.
How dare he?
I know we didn't even get to. Go ahead.
When you're talking about quietness, my case actually has 13 fans in it total.
Mhm.
Wow.
So,
That's a lot of fans.
But you don't hear them.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet. You know what? It's on Eastern time. It's 11:49, and we've barely talked anything Halloween for our Halloween special.
We can.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I can. I'm not going anywhere.
Cool. I just want to double check because we're coming up on almost 2 hours here. So
Well, what do you guys want to do? I mean, it's up to you. I'm game. Like I said, I did quit streaming video because I had to take some of this makeup off. So yeah, you're not getting any more video.
that's all good.
I was hungry.
Yeah, I can relate. I had to say goodnight to my son who was going to bed, who stayed up pretty late tonight anyway. But it's Halloween, right? So
Yeah. Are you down, Eddie?
Oh, I'm still here.
cool? Okay, so Gatun, how about you, Jasmunda?
Oh yeah, I'm here for a little bit.
Cool.
It is Sunday afternoon here. I should be spending it with my family.
Wait, you're spending it with us. We care. We love
Yes,
you
you're
too.
my extended family.
Yes,
We're your
That's
family,
right.
Jasmunda.
you've been replaced, or they've been replaced by us.
We're your cult
No, I did.
family.
I spent the whole morning with them. We went to one of those indoor play centres. If you've ever been to one of those places, if you haven't been to one of those places, I would suggest you stay away. They get pretty crazy.
Yeah, they do. It's pretty wild to watch. Like if you want to know what would happen if you take a group of kids and throw them in and throw them into a confined area and let them create their own civilization. That's exactly what happens in those places.
Exactly.
But it also lets you get a good gauge of how your children are going to interact in the world later too. Because do they come out on top or do they get stepped on? It's kind of nice for that too.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
you've got like a Lord of the Flies thing going on, do you?
Yes.
Yes, Lord of the Flies. That's the reference that's perfect for that.
And if they're there for a birthday party, add a lot of sugar into the mix, and it's even worse.
Yeah. But
God.
the best is to be the parent who's hosting the birthday party, because then you just sent out a large group of children to go home with their families that are just hopped up on sugar and excitement, and
Yeah.
that doesn't end quickly. But once they do crash, then it's for a long time. But it's fun. So let's go ahead and talk about. I don't even know if I'm going to say this right, but the grinning man. What is the name? Indrid?
Oh yeah, the injured
Indrid
cold thing. I got into that because I'm not even gonna tell you how. I don't want to disclose publicly some of the crap I listen to. It's embarrassing.
It's okay.
It's bad.
We've all listened to Nori at least once. So
Oh no, this isn't Nori. Every once in a while, I make the mistake of listening to Ground Zero.
okay.
Because see,
No way.
Clyde, yeah, Rick said, thank you, Eddie. Clyde is really good if he doesn't talk to callers. He's solid. He's okay. When he starts talking to callers, he's terrible. But he was talking about something the other day, and he does a lot of esoteric stuff, which I'm really into.
Mhm.
And he was talking about this Indrid Cold guy. And I remember I'm into the Mothman thing, too. I finally read the book. I'd never read it. And it's supposedly a work of fiction, which that disappointed me because I thought all these years it was true. I
Well,
was
okay,
like,
so
really?
hold on, because I didn't know that. So like the Mothman, I know the story of the Mothman, and is it Point Pleasant? Is that the town?
That's correct.
Okay, so is the whole thing a work of fiction or just the book a work of fiction?
The book, supposedly, because it says it's a novel, and I didn't know that because I was led to believe all these years from people like Art, who had John Keel on, who doesn't remember having John Keel on, which is interesting in itself.
It's because we have an alternate reality, Art. This is not the same reality, Art, that we knew.
I could really go on that theory for days. I have some suspicions with that, but anyway.
No, but you've got to remember, Art interviewed thousands and thousands of people, and Art Bell isn't a fan of Art Bell, so he's not re-listening to shows over and over again, so he's not going to remember.
That's a profound statement right there.
You're right, Chaz. You're absolutely right. It's funny. All the big people are like that. Riley's like that too. She doesn't even have tapes from her earlier stuff. She's like, oh no, I burned those tapes. I'm like, really? Because they don't want any part of it. I think it's interesting that the big name people, they don't listen to themselves. But anyway, I'm getting derailed. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm really bad at that.
No, it's okay. So I was reading about this, and supposedly outside of that town, somebody had the first experience with this creature. It's like the Men in Black stuff. You guys know about that because you all listen to Art, right? Or most of you have listened to Art Bell. And he talks about the Men in Black, or the people in like the old cars, you know what I mean, like the Cadillacs and whatnot, and they don't quite look human. They're tall and slender. Apparently, this Indrid Cold person was the original Men in Black. He was accompanied by a UFO, asked this farmer in the 60s to roll down his window, but communicated with him telepathically. So there's some plot holes with this story. You get what I'm saying? You can communicate telepathically, then why the hell do you have to roll your window down?
Right. Well, that's what's always funny with anytime you have telepathic stories and you wonder why they don't start with, well, I didn't have to do anything. I just talked to him.
Right. So I thought that was interesting. But the guy, I mean, you can hear the interview on YouTube. The guy sounds sincere. He doesn't sound like he's lying. So whatever happened to him with this creature, and it happened to a couple more people that saw him. The same kind of thing. But there was something interesting that was also pointed out, that once we create that thought form and put it out there, it can manifest. So I'm not sure if this wasn't something out of someone's imagination. I think Stephen King talks about that at great length, where things you create can become part of reality.
Now,
so
if that's true, that's kind of scary to think about all the wild things that the internet has created.
Well, you can go down that road with Slender Man. Do you remember hearing about that?
Yeah, true.
And how those girls, there were two 12-year-old girls that tried to kill one of their friends because supposedly this person that didn't even exist, this thing, told them to do that.
I believe they did kill their friend. I believe they actually did kill their friend. Yeah. I
think you might be right about that. I just remember hearing about it at the time going, wow. Yeah. And that was something that was created on Creepypasta, that was created off of it's a creative writing website. So I don't really think necessarily that he's his own deal, more so that it's, I really think it could even be something somebody created. If it was from a UFO, there were some things that didn't add up about it. You just, with all this stuff you don't know, that's what's interesting about it.
Yeah, but what was interesting to me too when you mentioned that is the Grinning Man part of it. That on Reddit a couple years ago, one of the scariest stories that I've ever read was about a grinning man, not the Grinning Man, but so it made me stop. I'm like, okay, I want to dig deeper because I know I've heard of it. I heard of this variation of a Grinning Man, but I didn't know all the details of it, so I thought it was really interesting to find out that it had a mix with Men in Black and the Mothman in any way.
Supposedly this thing appeared before the Mothman did, so it could be coinciding, and then some people thought it was the same thing, like in a different form. It's all speculation. I'd be curious to hear what your story is, because my whole take on all of this is that whatever this thing was, it put the archetype out there. And once you do that, I mean, if I sat here right now and I'm kind of in this weird tent thing, my room gets really cold in the winter. So I built this tent to sleep in. It's a long story.
Nice.
I hung like some command hooks from the ceiling, and it blocks off some of where I have drafts. And it works great, and I like it, and it's cozy. But right now, if I sat here talking about this stuff long enough, I get scared to look behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, then this story of a Grinning Man definitely makes me hesitate with my screen behind me, just to think if I turned around and saw this. So the story, and I wish I had the link to it up. I should have grabbed it for this. But there's this guy who's walking at night down a street, like a typically busy street, and it had street lights on both sides of the sidewalk. And as he's walking, him and his girlfriend, they pass a man who's in a suit, like a well-dressed man, that as they walk by, they don't even look at his face, so it's nondescript, but they cross, so they cross directions. Sorry, I just bumped my microphone as I did that. And the guy gets this weird feeling like he's being stared at. So he turns around, and as he turns, the well-dressed man is standing right behind him with a huge smile on his face, like he's grinning from ear to ear. And it freaks him out, of course. So he says, "Hey man, what's the problem?" And the guy just turns around, smiling still, and walks away. So him and his girlfriend keep walking, and a few more blocks, they pass a light, and there's a flicker of one of the street lights. He turns around, and in the distance is the grinning man again. Again, ear to ear smile, just staring at him, not doing anything. So he freaks out, crosses the road to the other sidewalk, and keeps going and starts to speed up. And as he's walking farther, in the distance, or around a corner, around a block, he sees there's a man in a well-dressed suit, smiling, staring at him again, and there's no way it's the same dude running to get up in front of him. So him and his girlfriend, freaked, just start running full speed to get back to wherever they're going to. I don't know if it was an apartment or something like that, or a house, but they just couldn't get past this feeling of being stared at. And the way the person wrote this and described it, I could totally imagine this. How creepy would it be to have this guy just smiling and following you? Like, I wouldn't know how do you react to that? Do you punch the guy? Do you call the police? Like, the creepy part of it is that the guy is just smiling the whole time, or grinning. And that just puts you off, because that's not what you expect some horror movie person or psychopath to be, just ear to ear grin staring at you. I always wondered what really was happening in that. Did he really, was it a psycho killer that was standing there that was just waiting for the right opportunity in person to kill them, or just a crazy person trying to make them uncomfortable? It was such a real story that it always stuck with me. I'm sure I didn't do it justice, but
no, I mean, I definitely, like, I think it's interesting that out of all the things in the world I could pick, that I picked something that coincided with something you were already going to talk about. I had no idea either.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Yeah, well, that's what made me stop and think, I'm really interested in where this goes then. But it sounds like Indrid Cold is more of he shows up and you, like he's a sign of something paranormal's happened, whether it's a UFO or, like a Point Pleasant type thing, something bad's happened.
I have two things to follow up with that. I have a personal story that I totally forgot happened to me. I was just weird people. I was in like a major chain store, and I don't know if you've ever encountered somebody you were pretty sure wasn't human on some level. I don't know how else to explain this. There was this woman, for lack of a better term, that reminded me of almost what you would see like a medicine woman looking like, but something about her was not quite right. And I don't know how to explain. I had this terrible feeling of dread the whole time I was around her. Like, I kept winding up in the same aisle with her. Have you ever had that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Where you just keep winding up in the same aisle with this person. And there was
Usually
something about
because I'm stalking them, but go ahead.
But are you smiling as you do it?
Yeah, Jazz he's going to tell us from the other side.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, there was something not right about her. And she was an older lady, but small in stature, with dreadlocks. And that, like, didn't even, like, none of that. It just was a weird combination of things. And there just was something that wasn't quite right about her. And I remember walking in my car feeling like this lady was going to get me, like a witch out of a scary story. Like, I had that kind of feeling of dread, and I have no idea why. Like, my gut instinct really thought she wasn't human. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, it didn't feel right. But it had that same kind of feeling where you want to bolt, like you were talking about those people wanting to run. And I swear to God, every aisle I turned down, it didn't matter if I was down the other opposite of the store, there was this lady. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that exact kind of scenario, but I've had some things that stood out to me as you were saying that jogged my memory. And I thought about at one point sending this, what I'm about to tell you, to Art, but I didn't know if it rose to the level of like a good ghost story, and I don't know how well I can present it either. But there was this, when I was in college, it was my freshman year.
Curtis, can I put some spooky music behind you?
Please do.
Okay.
I need it. Okay.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
It is. That is pretty crazy, man. I don't
It's
know.
chilling and thrilling sounds from the haunted house, brought to you by Disney in 1964.
That's what that is.
Yeah,
That's funny.
we had this haunted house album when we were kids.
Nice.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, I only remember the Jungle Book record. I had that, but
All right, go ahead.
I wish
Sorry.
I had that one.
Yeah, please continue, Curtis.
So I'm in college. I'm at my girlfriend's apartment, and in this apartment is a security door front to it. So you had to have the key to get into it, and she lived on the second floor. It's in middle of the night, probably, I don't even know the time. I'm going to say it's not 1 o'clock yet, but it's late, and I'm in bed. So as I'm laying there, I wouldn't call it a dream, but just this feeling of seeing the future was happening to me as I'm laying there. And again, I don't know that I actually had fallen asleep yet. That's the part that makes it creepy. It was that kind of time between you're fully asleep and, you're just trying to drift to sleep. So I had this feeling of seeing something open the security door, go up the steps, and as it's going, it's like a ball of hate and darkness is the best way I can describe it in my mind's eye what I was seeing. Think of like the Tasmanian devil when he's like in the ball running around like crazy, so you really can't see the form of him. But it was like that, emanating hate and evil. And like as it was moving, I could see it searching out a place to go. So it would go to each door and kind of stop for a moment and then decide whether that was the right one to go to. And it would say no. So it would move. It finally got to my door, or my girlfriend's door, and I felt it opening the door and starting to search. Like it was going to find where we were. It was just a matter of time for it. So I jump up right at the moment that this thing had reached the kitchen of the apartment, which put it 2 rooms away from where I was sleeping. And I jump up, fully awake at that point, and then I realize this was about to happen. I don't know what it was in my mind that triggered it, but I realized what I saw wasn't right now. It's what's going to happen soon. But I didn't know how soon of a time lapse there was going to be between it. So I wake my girlfriend up. I say, we got to get out of here. We got to get out of here right now. And she looks at me like, what are you talking about? I was like, I can't explain right now. Get your stuff. We're going. We're going to go back to my dorm room and we're going to stay there. And of course it freaks her out. She's like, well, yeah, it's weird. Why are you acting like this? So we get in the car and we drive over to my dorm. And then I tell her, and she's looking at me like I'm a complete idiot. Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, you don't understand. This thing had such evil intention, whatever it was, that I didn't want to be in this place to find out what happens when I'm face to face with it. So we get back to my dorm. It wakes up my roommate, and I tell him about it. And he doesn't necessarily believe me, but he's interested in it. So after a couple hours go by, if I can't sleep now, and I freaked out my girlfriend to where she can't sleep either, and my roommate says, well, let's go over to your place now. There's been enough time now lapsed between you coming back. Let's see what happened. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm an idiot. Let's go back and I'll confront whatever this ball of evil is. And we get there and there's fire trucks, ambulances, and police cars surrounding my apartment complex.
Oh.
And we both freak and go back to the dorm. And the wild thing is after that, we both were like, okay, this, whatever it was real, but I don't know exactly what it was. Weeks go by, no explanation of what it was. Then one day, my wife and her little sister, my girlfriend and her little sister are going into their apartment, and that security door, there was somebody banging on it, trying to get in. And she goes up and says, what are you doing? Can I help you? And the person says that their son, who lived on the 3rd floor, they haven't heard from them for weeks, and they were diabetic, and they were worried that maybe they'd had an episode in their apartment, and they needed to get in to see them, and the police or whoever wouldn't let them in. So my girlfriend lets them in, lets them go up to their apartment. The door's locked, and she doesn't know what's going on, or they don't know. My wife, I keep saying wife, girlfriend goes over to her apartment, doesn't think about it anymore. The people come back by an hour later and knock on the door and thank her for letting them in. The person wasn't in their apartment. They don't know where they were. And then they leave. And so this person just disappeared from the point of view of their family. And we assume it was probably related to whatever happened with the police. And of course, we never followed up to see would someone go into the hospital, what was the ultimate outcome. But
So the police were in your apartment complex, or were they in your apartment?
not in our apartment, in the complex.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're in the complex, and then weeks later, there's this weird thing of, and it's all college students who live there. So a college student just disappeared from the point of view of their family, no contact with them, and weren't in their apartment anymore. And so the question that never got answered for this was, is that person that was missing the reason why the police and ambulances and all that stuff was there? It feels like there was a connection to them, but I never got confirmation to know if there really was a connection between the two. And I've never had a feeling like that one before or after. I've had other paranormal stuff happen to me before this, but I'm telling you, that vision I had of evil and searching out something was so realistic that I had to react to it. I mean, there was no way I was going to go back to sleep.
Wow. A ball of hate and evil.
Yes. His name was Belgab.
I was thinking George Nori myself.
I was thinking Falky. It was a ball of evil and hate.
I've had the feeling where I just wasn't safe.
Mhm.
This was several years ago, and I'm checking the doors, make sure they're locked. I just feel like there's something out there trying to harm me, or somebody's trying to, or about to kick in the door or something, and it was just a really awkward feeling, and nothing ever came from it, but I just felt just generally completely unsafe in my house,
Yeah, well, that's
like
exactly
something was
how I
going to
felt.
happen at any moment.
Mhm. Well, what I've always wondered, like the doubt in my head was, what if I had stayed? What if whatever it was that brought all of those authorities to the apartment complex, how would this all have played out if I stayed in the apartment? And of course, I didn't want to find out in the moment, but it was just that always kind of freaked me out. And like I grew up in a small town in southern Indiana that has a lot of history of paranormal in it. And I had my own experiences happen. I lived in a house that was haunted for most of my life. And then I moved away to go to college, and I had that weird experience. And that was the last paranormal thing that's happened to me. And not that I've had like a ton of paranormal experiences. I've had a few things that stand out, but that was the last thing. And I've lived a life of just normal since then. It's weird.
Well, I wouldn't say normal.
Well,
Sure.
normal compared to like if you were a ginger who does podcasts, then you would say normal. But
I resemble that remark, sir.
yeah, I love that. Nice. Well, how does it feel to be a part of the ginger minority?
Well, see, I'm a fake because I dye my hair red, so I'm not even real. I'm not a real ginger. I'm just a wannabe, like that episode of South Park.
Yeah, well, it's okay because I'm waiting for my hair to continue to turn white so that I won't be a part of it anymore either.
I was
You're
looking
still-
at. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
You're still ginger, man.
And
Even with white hair.
you can see the white. I guess you can't really see it on camera, but it's
My
starting.
beard, my beard is
See it
good
when
and
focused.
ginger red. So
You can't really see the white hairs growing. You're throwing beers now too.
Yeah,
I
it's like,
hit
wow.
Yeah. Is it like in bad taste if I start drinking my
No,
Dairy Queen?
Dairy Queen.
Yes,
See-
it
see-
is.
It is good. See, Eddie, I was not kidding.
What were you gonna say, Eddie? You were gonna say something.
I was looking on Reddit, and I found this one page, scary stories in 5 words.
Yes.
And there are a few of them here. The first one is the coffee maker is broken. That's pretty damn scary.
That is scary. If
Yes,
that-
it is.
You were showing tattoos earlier. I've got a tattoo right here. It's
Oh,
caffeine.
cool. That's great.
Is that
Well,
the
you
chemical
look-
compound of caffeine?
It is. And I drink a lot of coffee, so that is a very scary thing, saying the coffee maker's broken. Very scary.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
The next one is you are not the father.
Every time I hear that, I'm actually happy.
Yeah, well, I was
that
going to
could be
say
a
that
happy
can go either
story
way.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah, the scary thing is when Maury shows up and he has like a process person to serve me papers saying I am the father.
The next one is Lindsay Lohan won the presidency.
No. What's that show where they to catch a don't they catch
Catch a
pedophiles?
Yeah.
Yeah, to catch a predator. What's his catchphrase when they walk in?
Yeah. Did you know why you?
Because I
came here?
vote for that being the series.
Yes. Well, here, I've
So
got-
you like having sex with young girls, do you? I think that's his.
that's a.
I think that's
Oh,
his
you know
opening
what?
line.
Hold on here. Let me see.
That's not what you said in your chat earlier.
Yeah. That's not what your profile picture looked like.
You know, Eddie, we need liners. That's really funny.
I don't know if I'm gonna. Oh no, I don't.
No, we can't use that one, but I think we're heading in the right direction.
I've got that guy on my soundboard. I just gotta bring it up here. Hold on. See if I can do it quickly.
See, this is why I want a soundboard. I'm having
Yeah,
soundboard.
I need a
envy.
support too. You're the technical guys. What do I need?
Yeah.
Yeah, do we have to pay them, Jazz? Is that how it works? Do we pay them and we get a soundboard?
That's right. I want a soundboard in my everyday life. I can just
You can download one to your device, your phone or your tablet. An empty soundboard. It's free on Google Play, or I'm sure there's one on the Apple Store that somebody's created. It's just a simple program that you can drag and drop audio clips onto and play it from your phone or your tablet.
Yeah, but then you've got to open the app. I want just one on my body somewhere.
There you go.
Just press it.
Oh, he wants it like preloaded. I got
You
it.
do this.
Yeah.
Here's what I did. I bought this, and I have it. These are all programmed for different soundboard. things
That's what I
use.
need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But, yeah, that's a.
What,
just a
what you need
nano-
is the soundboard T-shirt that has
Yes, exactly.
integrated soundboard on the T-shirt. You just
Yes,
Like
that's
help with the
exactly
chat.
what I need.
Well, one would say fart, you'd press it and you'd fart, and one would say burp
Well, I
and
can
you'd
do
press
that
it and you'd burp.
anyway.
your own built-in soundboard.
Can you fart on command, Jasmunda?
I wish I could.
What? That's not like an
I can
Australian
entertain
trait. Here's something scary for you guys. You guys know the song from Rebecca Black called Friday?
Ah, yes.
Okay, and it's one of the worst songs ever, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's every Friday that search term for that song, Rebecca Black Friday, spikes on Google.
Wow.
It still does to today, all the way back to, I think, 2013 when it first came out. Like, it
I'm
has,
so glad I don't know that.
yeah, isn't that crazy to know all this time that people are still on Fridays specifically? Like, if you look at the graph for it, it grows every Friday very clearly. It's
So that was that song where that very rich girl, her family paid I guess a music producing team to come up with a hit song for their daughter.
I think it's time for Eddie to come clean on that one. He made that. He was
What?
the person behind the scenes on the Friday song, weren't you?
Yes, that was me.
You were the father. Of course, I can't feed the audio from my tablet. I don't have it set up right now where my soundboard's going to. Great. But I've got I can't think, Chris Hansen, like a whole series of
Chris Hansen.
Yeah, that's the
MP3s
guy.
of him.
Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've never had a reason to really use those. Man, my camera's going out of focus. But now would be the time, and I'm not. It sounds very familiar from my life.
You're not prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the ball of evil that's coming to get you.
It is. Yeah, I feel like Tommy.
And the last short, scary story item in 5 words is it kind of plays into your thing, Curtis. Your ball of evil. It enjoys watching you sleep.
Oh God.
wow.
Oh, I timed that perfectly, didn't I,
did.
Curtis?
Yes, you
Spit
did.
take.
Yeah.
Well, do you want me to share more personal paranormal stories? Because I have a
Yeah,
couple
sure.
more. It's not like I have a whole lot.
Sure.
But
Well, Curtis, I got a thing to do a little bit later, so maybe not.
all right.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
My feelings. There was this time.
Broke him.
There was this time I was doing a video podcast with some guys and a girl, and one of the guys really hurt my feelings. and it really was scary. Okay, anyway, since I'm not very good at situational comedy,
But by you saying that just made it funny.
well, I'm all about the awkward ending. That's what my girlfriends all said. I mean, I needed some.
Oh boy.
I need some sound effects for that. Okay, so anyway, my actual paranormal, it's going back to things that have happened to me. There was this. I used to work at Kmart. It was my first job. That inside itself is a scary story. But there was this night that I'm working as a cash register operator, and there was only 2 of us doing this at the time, and we were dead. Like there again, I grew up in a small town. After like 7 o'clock, no one went out, so I don't even know why the store was open most weeknights past that. But anyway, I'm working, right? When I say working, I mean I'm standing there looking for something to kill time, and a person comes up to my aisle to pay, and they sit down a Fifth Avenue candy bar. I don't know if you guys know that candy bar, but it's not nearly as, like in the 90s it stopped being as popular as it used to be, but it was my favorite candy bar, Fifth Avenue. He sits it down, and I look up at the guy who's dressed nice, and I ask him where he got that, because we don't sell Fifth Avenues. And he said, well, if you try hard enough, you can have anything you want. I'm like, okay, whatever. And so I ring it up, and surprisingly, it rings up at like 97 cents or whatever the cost is of it. And again, I'm thinking, we don't sell this candy bar. I wish we did. I wish that was the end of the paranormal story, but it actually goes weirder. So he makes small talk with me and stays a little bit longer than your average person who's just buying a candy bar would. Before he leaves, he hands me like a religious tract. I don't know if you guys have ever had someone hand one of those to you, like a little piece of paper telling you, Bible verse or a story. And they tell you, take this, and it usually has their church on the back of it to get you to
Curtis?
come there. Yes.
We're in Indiana. I know all about that.
Okay. Do you guys have that happen?
Bible Belt level.
Yeah. Do people do that in your
Yes.
areas? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they hand you religious cards sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jazz, how about you? Do they do that in your area?
No, not really. I haven't. I know what you're talking about, but it doesn't really happen around here.
Okay.
They just hand out cards that have pictures of roosters on them. Jazz?
No, there is this one guy that walks sort of like a shopping cart down the street with like "you're gonna die soon" type of.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Nice.
I'd want to hang out with him.
Yeah.
So anyway, he hands it to me, and I look at him like, no, thank you. I have no interest in this. Don't waste your paper on me. And then he looks me right in the eyes, and he says, "This isn't for you." And I immediately respond back. I'm a teenager. I say, well, who's it for? Why do I want it? He's like, just keep it with you, and very soon it'll become apparent why you need it. And I'm like, all right, whatever. But he's very, like, I couldn't help but listen to him at that point, so I don't talk back anymore because of the forcefulness of his response. So I take it, I throw it on my register, I watch him leave, I watch him walk out the front doors and turn to the side, and it's dark outside. I wait like a appropriate amount of time for him not to be looking at me. And I run over to the other guy and I say, you won't believe like this dude that just came through the register and was talking to me and tried to give me this religious tract thing. And my coworker says, no one has been through this place in hours. I'm like, no, there was somebody here. I promise you. I just rang them up. And so we go up to the front doors and look outside. There's no cars. And he said no one had walked through. They would have had to walk past this guy to leave the store. He's like, nope, no one's been here. You haven't talked to anybody. I have no idea what you're talking about. And that freaks me out. So we go over to my register. I rang up a candy bar. So it definitely happened. I had physical proof of it. And he's like, well, no one has been through here. I don't know what that is. It's an error. And so I repeat the story back to him. And he says, well, if you really did just see somebody, where's this paper they gave you? And I look over at my register, and you can see where I just chucked it over to the side. And so he picks it up and looks at it and says, that's really weird, man. That's crazy. And he walks away. And so I don't think, I'm sorry if you hear like sirens coming through here in a moment, but they're coming to get me since I finally told the story. So
It's I was gonna say great timing.
I know it was. I wish I could have planned my 911 call better, but or I couldn't have planned it better. So anyway, a day or two goes by, and the guy who I'd been working with was very much not religious. And we're at school, and he thanks me for giving him that tract. And I say to him, "What are you talking about?" He said, that paper, I went to that church, and I think I'm going to start going regularly. And I'm like, what? What do you, how does getting that piece of paper and that story about whatever it was I talked to, how does that make you start going to church? And to this day, the guy still is fairly religious. And I can't explain it other than, was that an angel that I talked to, or what? Why did they talk to me to get to that guy? Have you ever heard of a story
Lord
like
works
that?
in mysterious ways.
Yeah.
So somebody gave you a piece of paper that had a church address on it.
Well, it specifically talked about, because the guy kept it, it was about turning your life around and making better choices after having made poor choices, however that worked out, and I forget the exact words, but it was specifically about cleaning up your life.
And the guy that gave it to you, nobody could verify that he was there, but he said this is for you, but somebody else found it, and apparently it was for them because they started going to this church service, pardon the pun, religiously.
No, he specifically told me it was not for me, that it was for someone else. So the guy told me just to hold on to it and it'll find where it needs to be. And I took that as just like, duh, whatever. And I ignored the whole thing as weird. And that's what I was going to tell this other guy about. So the way it worked out was whoever that was who came through my register, that really can't be verified that they were there other than on my register that they rang up, buying something that my store didn't sell, and leaving that piece of paper that affected this other person's life. And that person was standing there and did not see them. They never saw a person walk through, and I don't even know to this day really if they believe me that someone came through there, but it definitely had an effect on their life. So I was told by the person who handed it to me that this piece of paper would affect somebody else, not me, but here, take it. They wouldn't take it back from me.
It would have been great if you had CCTV footage of you just talking to nobody.
Yeah, I would love to see that. But it was eerie because, I mean, like I looked there and I couldn't find the guy. Like, I mean, obviously he could have hid behind bushes or something or ran.
Yeah.
But I looked out the window, shortly after he walked away, and I didn't see him. I couldn't find him. And if the other person is to be believed, no one came through my register. No one walked past him. Our area of the store had been empty for a long time. And so I've always just assumed that if they're angels, that must have been an angel that was talking to somebody else, or that walked through me to get to someone else, which I always thought was weird. Like, how's that work out? What's that make me?
I was just looking
that makes you a conduit.
Yeah, I guess. But I didn't have like some religious experience through it, though. It isn't like I had a transformation in the process.
You didn't need one, Curtis. You were already there.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
What were you going to say, Eddie?
I have another 5 scariest words ever uttered. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
Hey, Guy, how are you?
When you hear that, you got to run.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you hear that, it's too late.
Yeah.
The audio quality is so good on that thing.
It is.
On what, the soundboard?
Yeah, you can't really tell it's not another person.
I know.
If it's executed at exactly the right time, you can't tell. I mean, it just sounds. And first of all, by the way, there's lots of people. At least I'm hoping there will be people that listen to our stuff that don't listen to Nori, so they might get really confused and be like, "Who's this other person?"
That'd be great. Yeah, who is that other person on the show?
Yeah, I hope they do.
They don't contribute much. They just have these like one-liners. My favorite. I really love the goatsy one. By the way, Eddie, nice job with like bleeping that stuff out in the second half. That was funny.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Like the goatsy thing. I didn't mean to derail us in that department. It just was funny. Like, I mean, we all probably could tell horror stories about Nori. I mean, that would be easy.
Yeah,
I don't think they exist, do they?
about timing, Eddie, and you have it.
Yes.
Allison, if you raised a baby and beat it and kicked it and yelled at it, it would turn out to be a mean baby, a mean human.
I love that last part.
He just can't talk. There's not one sentence he can construct without fucking it up.
Yeah.
No. And I think I'm sure all of you did the same thing I did when I got to Belgab, and you saw that thread the first time, and oh my God, is it funny? I remember reading it, and tears were rolling down my face at one point. I'm like, this is so true. Especially when they would break down exactly what George had said. Like, they'd type out a whole conversation. I could never get through those. Without busting
well, that's
out.
what my mother used to say.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I derailed the show. Sorry.
No, it was
No, sorry. I
great.
think the
And
soundboard derailed the show.
And I'm staring at this picture of Fort Rock.
Jazz, I like the picture you had up before of
The one with the kid smoking the cigarette. Have you ever
Yoda?
heard that story?
no, the other guy. What the hell was his name?
Borat.
Yeah, Borat.
In the
Yeah.
Mac-
Oh God.
You know, really quick, with Fort Rock, what if he? I mean, I think we all kind of heard the story of him enough, but what if he really was some well-connected person, you know, in the Art Bell world? Because he likes to pretend like he is with the Portland Source and the Scorpion.
Yeah, but it wasn't correct though. That
Oh, yeah,
that
I know.
time that he.
I know.
If it was correct, yeah, I'll give him all the props for that.
Yeah.
Uh,
What?
We're talking about
Did
the
you
world he
guys-
constructed.
Did you guys see though the one day that like the guy posted normal and he
Yeah.
said that his body was possessed or whatever?
Oh, that
like
was yeah. What if he?
like Fort Rock, he posted non-caps and he's like, I'm being held hostage by this man. Like it was also that freaked me out. I sort of started to buy into it. I'm like, is this true? 'Cause you never fucking tell what's true on that point. I'm like, is this fucking true? What's going on?
What if he's JC?
Could be.
That's his avatar on the web. See, here's how bad my soundboard is. It's nowhere near as professional as Eddie's works.
And then
Can you hear
beat her. And then beat her.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Little evil elves. And then beat her.
Oh, oops. I had it chained together. Here we go. Here's the one I was looking for earlier.
And what do you call somebody who's an adult who comes over to meet a child home alone after a sexually explicit conversation? What is that called?
That was
That one was funny. LOL.
Nice. Our soundboards were communicating.
I think Chris Hansen and George Norrie need to have a conversation.
That'd be crazy.
That would be
I'm
great.
looking forward to that. When's that supposed to be out? Can we assume, other than interpretation, that something happened? Where are you?
I'm Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC.
What do you tell the atheist who doesn't believe or the agnostic who is on the fence and just wants proof? How are you? Yeah.
I'm not ready for my next
And
one.
what is that? Ah, yes.
There we go.
I feed off cock. You know, I'm Dracula. Here's what's happening. What could have been a very hairy cock. Is that still happening? Can't you lie to me?
I don't have a good one now. I think I've exhausted my my Nori clips there, unfortunately.
I think the soundboards need to have a show of their own.
They should. I think you could totally. Let's see. I have one more I didn't hit.
Thanks for calling.
Okay, that was very exciting. I'm just happy I got to use my Chris Hansen finally.
I think you guys should do that. I think we should have a segment maybe between our two shows where the soundboards talk to each other like it's like a
Yeah.
bonus track or something.
Well, is it bad that when Eddie is like spinning tunes and he mixes in the Eddie or the Eddie soundboard, the Nori soundboard to it, I get
Yeah.
excited. I'm like, yes, I heard it.
Oh, I think all of us do because we know it and it's something we all relate to.
Yeah.
I'll have to get a soundboard put together now. That's just gonna have to happen now.
Oh,
Yeah, I have
yes.
to do it too. Podcast.
How are you? I wish I had more set up. I have some.
So what
Star
do you
Trek
do?
ones.
Do you plug your iPad with these sounds on them preloaded into your mixer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a Windows tablet that I do that with, but I use that. I can either use the touchscreen on it or that pad to.
I gotta
program
get a
them.
mixer. I want to be able to do this. Like a decent working mixer,
Yeah,
not one that was $40.
Yeah.
It's addictive. I'll tell you that.
I can just
So do
bring
you-
it on one of the other channels that I have hooked up to the back of my PC, so I'll just run it on my PC.
You bastard.
Do you have the software, Gatun? I mean, that's
No,
easy
but I'll
stuff.
find some.
Yeah. I mean, I would think it'd be fairly easy to write something like that, right, Curtis?
Oh, there is, because that's basically what our Game Picker 3000 is just a
Right.
soundboard. You know,
Right.
it just randomly picks the the audio instead, though.
I don't even know what to say to that. I can still hear George Norrie in my head, and that's disturbing me.
Well,
And that
Well, let me ask you,
That
Green,
guy-
if this rhetoric on this website is accurate,
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanna-
exhausted
you know-
by good clips now.
it sucks. You know what sucks is that like he's from Detroit. So like when people first started asking me on the board where I was from, I'm like, I'm not saying Detroit. And you know, every time I say that, they're like, "Did you know Norrie's from Detroit?" I'm like, "Yeah, I already." It's like
Is
a
he-
curse.
Is he really from Detroit, or did his family move there at some point? Like, is he a transplant, or was he born and raised in Detroit?
I think he was born there, but I don't think he was raised here, but I don't know. I am happy to say I do not know that much about George Norrie.
Where did he own the restaurant that went under, or was a partner in, or whatever? Was that in St. Louis? Do you guys know
I
what
think
I'm
so,
talking
yeah.
about? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was in St. Louis.
Yeah, because wasn't he the Nighthawk?
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
Who listened to him? Seriously, who listened to him?
Well,
I want names.
yeah, who at Premier Radio Networks were listening to him? What do you think the first time someone handed a tape to Art and said, "Here's the guy we're going to bring in on weekends to fill in for you, and you really have no say on this, but listen to him really quick, give us some pointers." What do you think he did? Did he go under his table and cry?
I think he probably was like, "Fuck this guy."
He's like, "I'm checking out soon anyway, so whatever." This
Well,
guy
he
gets it.
obviously wasn't very happy
Yeah.
about Art or about George coming in, and he was forced to say, "Well, this guy gets it," just to.
Yeah, he better have got a good bonus that year. However, he would get a bonus for the year that he did that, because that's taking one for the team right there.
All that stuff you hear about him is true, though. I have a source, and it's all true.
About Norrie.
Yeah.
The weird thing
And
is that. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The weird thing about Norrie is that, because I've talked to him I think twice now, and when you're having like an on-air conversation with him, he seems like a nice guy. Like if the guy that was on with us, when I didn't talk much with him, Michael did most of the talking, which was good, but he interacted well, and I mean whether or not what he said was true or not, he presented himself in a good way. I'm like, why can't he do that on his radio show 5 nights a week? It never made sense to me.
Because he doesn't have to. It's not what he's paid to do.
But he's not paid.
What
to-
I can
Go ahead. Sorry.
what I can speak to is that they wanted a yes man and they got one. That's what they wanted. That's why they picked him.
Yeah.
They wanted somebody who would sell whatever he was given, and he does.
Do you think he has any direct connection to the products? Like, do you think he ever says, "Yeah, I think that we should go with turmeric. It's a great product. I love it. Let's do it."
No,
Okay.
no.
All right.
No, I do not.
No, that's
No,
the,
I go ahead. I'm sorry, Jess.
That's the station selling it. He's just the guy presenting it.
The funny
Yeah,
thing,
that's exactly right. Yep.
yeah, the crazy thing is that, do you think Premier Radio wants to be attached to those though? I mean, is it specifically to the group that runs the late night stuff? Like, if you were to go to a board of directors meeting for Premier and bring up the sponsors for Coast, they probably would shy away from that completely.
I'm sorry. I just had a pop explode on me.
Oh.
That was fun. I don't know. I know what I know from the person who told me, and I believe them. And I have reason to believe them. And I know that this person at one point was up for that job. So they had too much integrity, so they didn't take it. But that's the thing. They were looking for somebody, you know, they want to make money, and they're not even Premiere anymore. What are they? Are iHeartRadio now?
Yeah.
And they wanted to make money, and I don't think it's about integrity at all. Sadly, Curtis, I think it's about making money. I think that's, you know, and look, and I'm not saying anything because, God willing, I'm going to be pushing my book at some point. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to become commercial myself. So, but if I got the opportunity, I like to think that if I got the opportunity in any of these venues, I wouldn't be pushing things I don't believe in. You know.
Yeah, I agree. Like I would be willing to, you know, talk about something, but not make a personal connection to it like he has to do.
Well, he's an actor. I mean, let's go further. I mean, I don't know the man personally. I can't say horrible things about him. I have not interacted with him personally. I don't know him, and I won't do that with anyone who I haven't had firsthand knowledge with. Can I say that I don't care for what he did to Coast? Yes, I can say that. Can I say that I think he's good at slinging products? Yeah, clearly. Because what else are these people listening to it for? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the audience that listened to Coast back in the day is not the audience that listens today. It listens at this point.
Not at all. I mean, that's how Bell Gab thrived. It had to. You know, I mean, like, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I know through a third party, I know someone who was a guest host a couple times on Coast several years ago. Like, it's been a while, and
sure.
I tried to get them to just talk, like to come on a podcast, and because they're not involved in anything related to Coast at this point, they haven't for a long time. I was like, will you come on one of the podcasts we do just to say, hey, I'm so-and-so and I did this and this is what it was like. And they said no, they would not go on any record for any reason about what it was like to host it. Was, you know, what was it like afterwards? Would they do it again? They were like, nope, I don't exist as far as you're concerned. I'm like, okay, fine. I have to assume that that's not good.
Well, probably if they wanted to go back and host again. You know,
I don't
Raleigh's
think they have any interest in doing that, though. They didn't
Raleigh's
say that
favorite line to always say is that, like, she can't tell a lot of her stories till people die. So,
yeah.
And slowly they are. So slowly they're coming out. Because there's some things you can't say because you can get sued. It's libel.
Right.
You know, that's why I'm very careful with what I was saying because, you know, I mean, not that I don't think George Norrie is going to listen to your podcast, Curtis. I'm sorry to say. I don't think he's going to listen to ours either.
No, he probably will at some point. He needs to do something while he's waiting.
I'm burning us too, Jazz.
No, I think the likelihood of you being him listening to you is higher than ours, unless he has a problem with his iPod or something. Because I assume he's still rocking an old iPod, not an iPhone.
Probably, but I was burning myself as well with that comment. It was certainly not personal.
Really quick though, of the four of us on right now, since Eddie had to go, who's most likely to be on Coast? It's you, right? Pony Boy?
Me?
Yeah, to go on.
I would never do Coast. I don't
wouldn't
care.
promote your book?
Never. Not for all the money in the world. No way.
I respect that. That's cool. I don't know what in the same situation, I don't think that I would have as honorable of an answer. I'd be like, all right, if he's going to sell my book, I would.
Yeah.
No,
it's a big audience.
Yeah, but he has no way. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
If I had a choice, I would do art show. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Chuckle. You know, I can tell you this much. I will absolutely sell my ass out. Are you kidding me? I had a bonfire a few weeks ago for my 40th early because my birthday's in the winter. Anyway, one of the guys is a friend of a friend, and he's just this pretentious guy who's got like 4 degrees. You know the type, okay? Like, but they're not science degrees or anything. As I sit here with my English degree, you know, he just thinks he knows everything. And I'm talking about how I have an agent, my book's almost published, and blah blah blah. And this guy looks at me and goes, "You're gonna sell out, man." And I said, "You are damn right. I'm gonna sell out."
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
Yeah, I've always said, like, I have no musical talent, but if I did, I would love to like write one song that becomes like a huge pop hit and sell out, and then make millions of dollars. I know you don't make millions of dollars anymore in the music industry, but have my one big hit, sell out, have everybody love me then hate me, and I'm going to disappear to an island and do what I love for the rest of my life. Screw you.
And what I should say about Coast is the way this business works. If my agent who was on Art Bell this week. If my agent looked at me and said, "You need to do this," I'd have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So what I should say is, personally, would I make that choice? No, but that's not how this business works. This business is all networking, and that's how it is. I have to. I just talked to Riley about this last night. I have to have a good product, but I have to have somebody to get my foot in the door. It's
Right.
like that in anything.
Yeah, the thing
So
is
that's-
that after you've sold yourself to everybody, then at some point you own yourself because you've put the work in. And
Right,
you
but
can
I
do what
don't
you
see that happening for a while for me because I'm an unknown. That's just how it is. To quote Falky, I'm not trying to talk about myself. We're just going down this road, and because I'm in the middle of what's going on with me,
Let's get
you
to
know,
Let's get to the heart
What's
of it.
that?
You do this to make money.
it's not why I wrote the book initially, but I
no,
think
that's the Falky line. That's the.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I do
Oh,
this to
that's
make
all-
money.
oh, you set
This
me
is all
up for this.
designed to make money, right? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
This is all designed to make me money.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just the way of it. I never, I mean, holy hell, the person I'm working with is on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Art Bell last week. I mean, that still blows my mind that I have an agent that's a well-known person. It's wild to me. Like, but that's what it's about.
Yeah,
What?
that's pretty cool. I was gonna say, well, the thing that was funny is that like a lot of these connections do come back to Belgab, right? Like that's kind of what spurred the direction that gets you down the path.
Oh,
you're on now.
absolutely.
That's just so.
Yeah,
wild.
absolutely. I will never ever, while I have had my differences, and I will never. There's some things I will never talk about publicly that way. I will never bash that site. I can't. I mean, I wouldn't even have written my book. I didn't even know Raleigh existed before that site. Didn't know. So, and that's so connected for me, and it got me to the podcasting thing again. It just, I don't know. It's done a lot for me. I think the site's useful. You know.
Yeah. No, I agree that it's the fun thing about it is, yeah, you can have your disagreements with so many different aspects of what happens on it sometimes, but it doesn't take away what the site can be and what it does and the connections you can make. You know, it's a cool little microcosm of the internet that can allow you to make connections. And I mean, I've been impressed, like when you look at art, all the things that have spun out of like Art's show, which really kind of organically built from promotion on Belgab. And it's very rare you see a website of a bunch of random people that are loosely connected actually come together and do something positive for another person to make them successful. And I definitely think whether it's the YouTube channel that Jazz is doing, the pre-promotion stuff for Art that happened before it, or the live chat threads, the time travel, all that stuff kind of, not saying that Belgab is the only reason Art's on the air, but it helped drive him and give him a lot of forward momentum. And not a lot of websites can do that. That's the cool thing about it, and it's doing it for you too.
Yeah, well, you live and die by it. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. It's and I mean, I think about all the time that Art's plucked people. I mean, Jazz does his thing, Redacted does her thing. You know what I mean?
Oh,
By
yeah.
the way, Jazz, I mean, you've actually interacted with Art, haven't you?
Yeah, a number of times privately, sort of off the board. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, when would you have ever thought you would have gotten that opportunity? You know?
No, I mean, just the other day he messaged me on Facebook. He said to call him a few minutes before the airtime because he had to tell me something, and yeah, you sort of get a big kick out of that.
Yeah, that has to be wild to see that message come across. Like, oh, okay.
And it was like I'd got it actually come in 20 minutes before, and I'm like, oh no! I was like scrambling to get my microphone, and then my earbuds got caught in a mess of a tangle of stuff, and I couldn't get it out, and I'm like, I was in a mad panic.
Yeah,
it was like everything that could go wrong did go wrong in that
Yes.
moment.
Yeah.
I can relate just on our little video thing. Nowhere near as exciting as you're getting ready to talk to someone who's in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But we're talking to future. Is there a literary Hall of Fame?
You know, I don't know. My whole purpose with what I wrote was I wanted to thank Raleigh for something I honestly, I didn't write it with any intent beyond that. The first book was written tailored for her. I mean, I wrote it specifically for her. And when I got done with it, no, because it's not, I mean, it's pieces of her. It's not literally her, but it's a good chunk of it. And the cool thing was is that I was so thrilled. She actually was reading it and talking to me about it on air that I couldn't get up. My book sat on Raleigh James's nightstand. Actually, it's still sitting there because I sent her something not too long ago. That's wild to me. It's kind of like art, it's kind of like Jazz with his art story. I'm like, holy, really? Me, so, and then you start to realize that they're just people. And I think like with Jazz or anyone else, like, any of us who've had that interaction and those people see that talent in us, yeah, they're utilizing it for themselves to a degree, but they also want us to succeed. These people are around the same age. We're what's next.
Yeah, I really like that about like with Art and the way he's brought in techno. I guess Raleigh too, right? She really is connected in a way that's not like old time radio where you're just talking. You're broadcasting one to many with Skype and social media, all that. And just the regular interaction you and her have, that it's brought it down to where it's not this like the king coming down to talk to you. It's you get to be a part of what's happening, or you're just a random caller. Now you're a part of the show.
I think what happened in my case was no one was calling her, and that's how I got to know her. Because when she came back, like she was on Sirius a few years ago and then got let go. I don't know anything about that. I don't know how it happened or whatever. But when she started to do her own internet show, she was doing it 5 nights a week, and that's when I got onto her, and no one would call. So I started to call. And then it started, other people, because it takes one person has to start to call. Like in that situation, people get weird and they get scared and they won't call. It's bizarre.
Oh, yeah.
And we just got to know each other. You know how it is. And people are afraid of Art. It's the same kind of thing because you're like, they're just people. Like, it's like when people get all wound up in the chat room that Art's there. Yeah, it's cool. You're talking to somebody who's famous, but you have to look at it as they're just a person.
Right. Oh,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah, they have likes and wants and needs just like everybody else. It's not like they're some completely unique creature. It's funny because like with Art, I've almost called in a couple times. Like I thought about telling my stories, that was specifically the one about the ball of hate kind of thing, or that happened to me. But I'm like, how would I be on the air with that? I've called into radio shows before, I've done that. I'm not uncomfortable with it, but I just can't see myself making that phone call and getting past that first part of it. And if I would, then I would try to do that. But I called into his show one time. I'm trying to remember who the person was that was on. And so I'm listening and it's ringing. And the person he picks up is someone named Curtis. And so as soon as I hear the name Curtis come through, I hang up mine. I'm like, I'm not going to call and be the next person, so he gets 2 Curtises in a row. So, so I hung up, and I've never called it again after that. But the one time he read my wormhole message over the air, like it was so exciting. I was like, well, now I don't need to call because I had that moment of him saying my wormhole message. So it was all good. But maybe he would have thought it was funny if we had 2 Curtises in a row, but I was like, well, I don't really have that good of a question to ask the host, so I'm just calling for the sake of calling. But,
didn't you talk to him when we had that test? He was testing out his setup for Midnight in the Desert.
Yeah, I did call that and talk to him, because it was really awesome, because when I called in the first time, he couldn't hear me, but you were talking.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
So it was really cool. I got to listen to him interacting with you and letting you kind of host the test show,
yeah,
which was fun. But and then I tried to call back, and he heard me the next time. I think he picked up the wrong call when I called the first time. But then I talked to him for a few minutes, and it was really cool to have that interaction with him. Before he came back on the air, like a while, like maybe a year, when he first went on Facebook, I talked to him on Facebook several times. Talking about, there was a book called Area 51 that was written, and it starts off talking about him. So I wrote him and asked if he had read it and what his thought of it was, and he hadn't read it yet. So it's kind of cool to get to tell him, hey, check out this book that you feature pretty heavily in the beginning of, and then for him to come back and say, yeah, I read it. That was very interesting, and thank me for it. So it's cool that he was already interacting like just like anyone else would on Facebook. I'd send him a private message or a Facebook message, not expecting any response. And then I get one, and he's very normal and cool about it. And then I call into that test show, and at first I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to do when we get on the call? And he sets you at ease so quickly that it's actually,
he's very good like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun to. I mean, he didn't hesitate even on a test call to pick on me like he would any other caller. You know, like he'll do that little thing sometimes where he gets you going one direction and then changes it and makes you laugh, or makes you think he's serious, and then he changes direction, which is really good.
Yeah.
And I like that about him, is that because that's, you know, everyone has a buddy like that. You know, it's very real. But I would say that, like, I don't want to meet him in person ever. It would be really cool to have the honor to do that, but like, it's so cool to talk on Skype. But like, if I was in the mall and I saw him, I would just leave him alone. You know, I wouldn't try to go walk up to him and say, "Hey, I'm on Belgab, and so are you. I'm a big fan."
Yeah.
You know, it'd be kind of weird, but it is really cool the way he does interact with us.
I think all the older people do that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's how they're schooled and trained, and the people that are really good at it, there's something in them where they can change on the fly like that. I mean, Raleigh screwed with me yesterday, and that cracks me up. Like, you'll probably hear it this week, where I was all set to promote our new show, and I'm all excited about it, and, you know, she's telling me she likes the name and it's going swimmingly, and then all of a sudden she's like, "What's the phone number?" I had no idea. I'm like,
Nice,
sitting
yeah.
there, I'm like- and she's like, "You kind of should know that, Soraya. You're part of hosting a talk show. You don't know your phone." It's really funny. Like, it escalated quickly, but I'm sitting there going, "No, I don't know the effing phone number because I'm not responsible for taking calls." You know, that's what I'm thinking to myself, but I'm trying to dig myself out. So you're talking about people messing with you. You know, it's that same kind of thing where, like, and I mean, I'm always, it's just easy. She's good like that with everyone, though. She has to be. It's her skill. And Art's the same way. If those people couldn't make every single caller feel the way that each one of us has felt with them, then they're not good at their job.
I think your headset's starting to act weird again.
Oh.
It's starting the crackling.
Yeah. When you know.
All right, give it
There it goes.
Yeah.
There it is. All
Okay,
right.
cool.
That's great. Well, it's
Yeah.
every hour on the hour, kid.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Yeah.
Now I know that for when we do this on Monday. But I think if they don't do their job well, you're not going to call them again.
Right.
You know, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say when Raleigh, it's on the same direction, but when Raleigh called in or was a guest on the train wreck with Michael and Evelyn, I knew who she was, but I didn't know a lot about her. That was my first real interaction of listening to her, and that was just such a cool call. I mean, like, she totally treated them as if they deserved to talk to her, and, you know, just like Art when he called in, or you know, anyone else that's been sort of famous treat you with some respect, and you actually, you know, it's kind of cool. It makes you engage more with listening to them. But it was so cool to hear her and Michael interact with each other. That's still one of my favorite episodes of the train wreck.
It's the first thing I ever heard about her beyond her own show, and she's like that outside. Like, as far as like the email goes, and I've emailed a lot with her. I've never talked to her on the phone, but I mean, I have like hundreds of emails back and forth. No exaggeration. At one point, we were writing each other all the time.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah, we clicked and we were talking a lot. And anyway, she is exactly how she is on air off of it. I can say that firsthand. It's just who she is, and that I really admire, because a lot of people aren't like that.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's
and
the
I
way
think Art's the same way. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's why, like, seeing him in person would be so weird, because he's so good at doing what he, you know, being that personality type that makes you comfortable, that I would want to take a ton of his time from him to just hang out. And, like, you know, the guy has a life. He needs to be able to do what he's got to. So
people are dying slowly. Do you see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we should call it a night here soon. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That yeah, it looks like things worked out after we dealt with our initial technical issues. I assume now on the audio stream, is there still issues with hearing me?
Not on the audio stream. The audio stream's still good and solid.
I mean the video. How about the video stream?
Video stream, you're still in and out from time to time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not helpful either, because most of us killed our video too.
Right. Yeah.
Because we were about halfway, and you know, I'm sure this will be fun for people to listen to. Actually, it probably will be, because it's just us sitting here talking.
Yeah, no, it ends up being just a hangout, which is kind of cool.
But, which is perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, cool.
This was great, Curtis. I'm glad you had us on, and
oh, well, thanks for hanging out on Halloween with me. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Halloween.
Yeah, right. It's like, what is it? All Saints Day now? Is that what it is?
Is that what the day after?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
okay.
so.
Yeah, because that was the point of what Halloween became, right? Was
All Hallows Eve.
yeah.
Yeah, and
No
actually,
idea.
I think Eddie was off to do stuff because remember Eddie's West Coast.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. He's got a nice delay from us to.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're all East Coast, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are. Yep. Yeah.
I'm amazed I'm still coherent currently.
Yeah. No, it's 1:00 in the morning now, or almost. I was worried because I ended up, my wife, son, and I went to go trick or treating tonight, and in our neighborhood usually you can go through it in about an hour and be back, and so at 5:00 we left to go trick or treat, and it was like 7:45. And we're just starting to get back. And I'm like, man, am I going to make it in time for the football podcast? And then what's that going to do to push back for us on this? Because I didn't want to cut that short, obviously for this. But it all worked out. But man, I'll tell you what, I'll sleep well tonight after walking for 2.5 hours around our neighborhood.
Oh, I bet. But yeah, guys, thanks a lot. And it was really nice to meet you.
Yep.
I'm sure that we'll all be interacting in the same universe again. And thanks for all your tech advice. That was great. Like, I feel like I have more direction now.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll have another true tech show this week. So
yeah, feel free to call and join in with us or ask questions. Anything, we're all for it. The more tech we can get, the better.
Yeah, cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna go to bed too.
Cool. Me too. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Anyone who's watching this after the fact. Hopefully you liked our outfits and enjoyed the conversation, and join us next time at Why So Technical. And I put you, Gatun, in charge of ending our stream.
all right. Well, you guys have a great night, and see you later.
Yeah.
See you. And don't forget to listen to Podcast Not Included Monday nights at
8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8 o'clock Monday nights at podcastnotincluded.com.
Yep.
Video
Thanks,
streams
guys.
off.
Right. Thank you. Bye.